What's up, Seekers? Welcome back to the coolest channel on YouTube. If you guys are brand new here, man, you guys don't know what we do. Don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web. That's gonna make us question everything. Everybody sit back, enjoy, man. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Yeah, I know what we do, man. We do it every single day, bro. I seek the truth.
Turns out that Jim Carrey actually was at the awards show the other day, and he does not have a doppelganger. So after Jim Carrey was seen at an awards show in France just a few days ago, people were very worried because he obviously doesn't look like what we thought he looked like, because he stopped really acting in 2022, so we really haven't seen him in person that much in the past 4 years. Because this is what we remember Jim Carrey to look like when he was very popular in all of his movies. And this is how he showed up to the awards show in France a few nights ago. Now, there's a man on IG right here called Alexis Stone who apparently makes himself look like all of these celebrities by putting on fake masks, fake hair, and fake entire bodies. And because of everyone speculating what was going on with Jim Carrey, he posted this AI photo of a Jim Carrey mask with the hair and some fake teeth, and fooled literally everyone. Look at this. 500,000 likes, 500,000 shares on this post where he was lying about being Jim Carrey. And he has other people here questioning it too, saying that they're actually believing the makeup guy and not Jim Carrey or Jim Carrey's publicist, that it was actually Jim Carrey at the awards show. But Jim Carrey and his publicist have both come out and said this was Jim Carrey. He had actually been practicing his French for the past 4 months to give his acceptance speech in French. So that guy, the guy on Instagram, is completely lying to you all.
Oh.
Plot twist. It's not Jim Carrey. It's a clone, bro. That a plot twist for you guys, man? Oh, bro. Everybody's freaking going crazy over that Jim Carrey thing, man. Or maybe it's just because he's aging. Everybody ages, bro. Did anybody think of that?
What is that? A guy named Shanman on here caught this in Laredo, Texas on a trail cam. Prepare yourself. I don't know how they would have faked this because this thing is floating unless this was edited in, but you can see that the artifacting looks very similar to the artifacting in the rest of the photo. It doesn't look like it was edited. You can see this thing has black wings and what looks like goat hooves. So is this a fallen angel? Let's take a look at its face.
The hell?
Now, I just want to be straight with you guys. This is not a joke video. Like, I'm not making this as a joke. This is horrifying. And it kind of looks Egyptian in a way, don't you think? For some reason. It's almost like this thing has been here for a very, very long time. Like it was awoken from a tomb. So what do you think it is? Share it with your friends and like and follow for more videos like this one.
Did you know there's a strange coincidence around the U.S. men's gold medal winning hockey team? It's a connection to the Miracle team of 1980. You know, the team that beat the Russians. They even made a movie about it. Miracle, starring Kurt Russell. But how could the gold medal winners of this Olympics be connected to a team from 46 years ago?
Break it down.
And a movie that's been out for 22 years. Well, here you go. In the movie, just like on any team, players try out and some make it and some don't. The movie Miracle is based on the facts. And the facts are, in the movie, they show a list of people getting cut. Look down at number 21. Hard to believe, right? And there you see him in the corner of your screen, a player from 1980 that was cut from the hockey team, Jack Hughes. How crazy is it that the gold medal winning final goal was made by none other than Jack Hughes? Yeah, go ahead and say it. It's just a coincidence, but could have been a whole lot of other names. So what do you think? I'm just happy that Jack Hughes of today didn't get cut. Did you know?
Bro, travel back and went forward to the future, man. He said, I ain't getting cut this time, bro. And he had the winning goal to get gold. And they both had the same name, bro. I don't know what the hell is going on, man. You know, like how the universe, how everything has to line up for a coincidence like that to happen.
It's cookie food. Old food. Right? This is the ingredients. This is the cookie. Watch this. It's out. So I put pizza
Normal.
away. No zapping, no nothing.
They're fucking shark on me.
Oh, I'm out. What the? He's in a
Holy fuck.
kayak too?
Holy
Go, bro.
Look, what is this thing? This is not fake, it's not AI. This is from a live broadcast of a minor league baseball game. This was posted to the social media of the Hub City Spartanburgers. They're an affiliate of the Texas Rangers. The object floated around the field and stopped the game for a little bit until the groundskeeper came to collect it. It totally baffled the announcers because they could not figure out what it was.
No one has any clue what it is.
What is that?
I'm trying to make sense of it myself.
On the comments under the social media post, you have tons of people saying, well, it's obviously this, but they all disagree on what it is. This person says it's cottonwood tree fluff. This person says it's ocean foam. And then there's lots of people saying, well, it's obviously just soap bubbles, like dish soap bubbles, but is that what it looks like to you? Somebody speculated that it came from a car wash, but I've lived around many car washes in my time. I've never seen a big hunk of bubbles just go rolling down the street and mostly staying intact the whole time. As you see, it eventually falls apart. I am not speculating that it is anything supernatural or that it's an alien life form or a jellyfish or anything else, but I honestly don't know what it is. But I am also very certain that somebody out there does.
Oprah appearance changed once again, y'all. Y'all remember the earlier video I made when I was like, she was looking different. She was looking a little old, but she was looking young again. This time, she looking way young. And I'm sitting here wondering, is it the Ozempic? Or is it a little too much babies? Oh, stop. Y'all know she with the elites too? Y'all know what they do?
What is that? Ooh. heebie-jeebies, bro. Get it out.
Oh, this real ghost photo is so creepy and I really don't know what to think about it. This person takes a selfie of herself in the bleachers at a football game. A couple is sitting on the bleacher in front of them. I'm sure you notice it immediately. A woman has some sort of spirit attached to her. There's absolutely nothing else abnormal in this photo besides this. But the spirit attached to this woman almost looks like it's wearing maybe a wedding dress and a veil with a crown of flowers. When you look closely at it, it almost looks like it has a skull for a face. And it looks like it has its arm wrapped around this woman.
Yep.
Now I brightened the image and played with the contrast a little so you can see it better. Whatever this is translucent. It almost looks like a mist, but you can clearly see the hair, the veil, the crown of flowers, and the illuminating hand sitting on the woman's shoulder. And the arm itself has like a shine to it. It almost looks like plastic, like a strange x-ray of something standing next to this woman. It really makes you wonder what this is and why it's attached to her. What do y'all think?
They walk among us. They have been for centuries now. Can you not see them or feel them? Pay attention.
Que avião, cara, desvoador.
Aqui. Ô, tá estressado porra aí, velho. Tem um S24 aí?
Dá um zoom aí fudido aí.
What is
Cadê
that?
o S24? Tem não?
Não, o meu é igual dele.
Cara, olha aqui.
Olha.
Drones? Can't be though. It's rectangle, bro. What the hell is that?
Chris K here with, you've heard about it, here it is, the Big Arch. This is something that we have tested already in Portugal, Germany, Canada. I love this product. It is so good. I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know. So here we go. First, holy cow. God, that is a big burger. We've got a very unique kind of sesame, poppy sort of bun on it. We've got 2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious Big Arch sauce, and of course some lettuce. So, oh, there's so much going on with this. First of all, let's try to get this thing, I don't even know how to attack it. God.
Just bite it, bro. It's very simple, man.
So much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out. All right, the moment of truth.
Bro did not want that burger, man. You know, ever since, man, the McDonald's CEOs did this, bro, it's like CEOs of other companies are like coming out and actually taking like a big bite of the burger, bro. There's actually a Burger King one, man. I can try to find a clip for you guys, bro. We can break down, man, if these people actually even like their products that they putting out that everybody else is eating, but you can tell by the light in his eyes, bro. He does not want to eat that, man.
That is so good. That's a big bite for a Big Arch. It's distinctively McDonald's. Only McDonald's could do this type of burger, but it also is unlike anything else on our menu. It's a delicious product. You know, you've got sort of the cheeses and the gooiness, but those crispy onions as well gives a nice texture. And of course, we've got the pickles. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my lunch, but Big Arch, try it when you can get it.
He even taking another bite. That's how you know he didn't. He's like just like phasing through everybody, bro. Back 13 hours later. Like a shadow now, bro.
The ocean just got a whole lot stranger today because scientists have just discovered that something is producing what they call dark oxygen on the sea floor. And to put this discovery in perspective, until this paper was published, breathe and rely on to survive could not be produced without sunlight. Yet the depth of ocean where this discovery was made was in complete darkness. And not only that, because it also seems to be produced by non-living, non-biological sources described as lumps of metal on the sea floor, which is another baffling discovery because scientists also previously thought that most oxygen was created by living organisms. But it gets crazier. The paper outlines that trillions of these naturally occurring metallic nodules each produce an electrical current close to that of a AA battery. Goddamn, cavemen had batteries and electricity and didn't even know. And as you were probably taught at school, or not, this electrical current can split water, H2O, into hydrogen and oxygen. I mean, just the fact that we can still be making groundbreaking discoveries like this is wild enough, but it gets even more interesting because just think about what that could mean for other planets. If we now know that oxygen can be produced by non-living organisms, it changes our perspective on which exoplanets out there could have an oxygen atmosphere, which, as you know, is necessary to sustain life.
Oh, we out. Boats, damn, what the hell? Better be careful.
You motherfucker. You motherfuckers. Bro, what if I told you
that the whole world was under one big dome. And inside that one big dome, hiding other unknown places we haven't seen, like Atlantis. But for some reason, these old Mapamunda maps put Earth in a dead center. What are we doing? Why are we the only ones surrounded by ice? What the hell we do? You motherfucker.
We in jail, bro?
So basically, Earth is in a snow globe, and nobody's shaking that motherfucker. So if the firmament is a dome and meteors are, maybe NASA rockets don't go to space. Or maybe we somewhere we don't even know where we at, bro. Just know whatever we in, it's big, bro. It's big, bro. It's big. Bigger than what y'all thinking.
Check this out. This is happening right now. This is in Manhattan, Kansas. Are you seeing that emission? Well, I pulled up the tower activity to see what was going on, and there was an incredible amount of that rippled radar, the stuff that, you know, the official statement is that it's just a reflection off of birds and insects. However, I've been able to predict catastrophic storms simply based off of these so-called glitches, and typically I would see tornadic activity moving through a storm like that. But instead, we're seeing this massive spiral emission on radar. And then I pulled up the satellite activity to see what the clouds were actually doing, and there were ripples in the clouds. You seeing that? It's hard to see because there's a million layers of clouds, but there's definitely ripples there. Now, I sent multiple screenshots of what was going on to a couple different AI sources, and they all agreed. They had initially said, oh, it looks like there's a volcanic eruption in the area. Are there volcanoes in the area? Because I didn't give it context. And I was like, no, there's no volcanoes. Basically, what it seems like is happening is there's a high level of pollution that's being spiraled down like a vortex. In the area, there really wasn't a whole lot of excessive pollution that you could see in the air quality index. However, there's been a crazy amount of trails have been passing through that winter storm that's currently moving across from west to east.
There's no way you could tell me that they didn't already know that they was going to fire Christy Nome this week. They had her replacement set already. But Christy Nome being fired is overshadowing something that they don't want you to see. After today, almost 60,000 pages from the Epstein files have been deleted. The DOJ removed more files off that website. And to add insult to injury, you're supposed to be able to download that data on that website. People been having problems downloading that data on that website. Now you gotta ask yourself, why are they removing these files? They are actively removing these files right in front of our face. Mind you, they're saying that they took these files offline for further review. Further review of what? Because if they wanted to review these files, they could have looked at these files the same way we were looking at these files. Why take them down? I wonder why they want to impeach Pam Bondi for the way she's handling these Epstein files. My thing is this. Whenever they tell you to look left, make sure that you look right. Because how they say it, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yep.
Something like that. Y'all ain't slick.
Bro. What's up with them taking down all those files, man? People just trying to seek the truth, bro. 2026 year. I mean, this year, bro. A lot of people waking up, man. A lot of stuff happening in front of our eyes, bro. Like you said, when they want you to look left, look right, bro. This truck, okay. Said something was staring at him. I don't see it yet. Oh, what the? I saw those eyes pop up. Oh, what the? What is that? Middle of the night, pitch black, can't see nothing except for a pair of eyes. Trying to get in, bro. What the I would have started a truck up, yo. You just sitting there.
Here's where it gets wild. There are alleged connections between these deep underground bases. Supposedly, there's a network of high-speed maglev trains running through deep underground tunnels, connecting these domes and others across the country. Some people claim that you could travel from the East Coast to the West Coast in just a couple of hours using this secret subway system. Apparently, it's not just in the US. There are reports of similar facilities all over the world, like the Pine Gap facility in Australia. Officially, it's a joint defense space research facility, but there are theories that it goes miles deep into the earth and houses advanced alien technology. Thing is, with the boring technology that we have today, creating these vast underground networks isn't just possible, it's practical. Companies like Elon Musk's The Boring Company have shown how quickly and efficiently we can dig tunnels. And that's just the tech that they're showing us. Imagine what kind of advanced boring machines might exist in classified military projects. Now, some of you may think that this underground boring tech is some new, cutting-edge stuff, but the crazy thing is, people have been dreaming up and even trying to build these underground machines for over a century. In 1904, there was this guy named Pyotr Raskazov who was from Moscow who designed what might have been the first underground self-propelled combat unit. Fortunately, his designs got lost during World War I, only to pop up later in Germany.
You got underground freaking trains, bro. They say you can take it from the East Coast to the West Coast within a couple of hours, man. Could you guys imagine that, bro, traveling like that? Underground, bro. Alright. That GPS, try to set that man up, bro. He get that man a raise. He was dedicated, bro. He still did it too.
What are these people doing, y'all? Apparently, this radiation fog has migrated over to Los Angeles now. It's still in Central California, but now look at Hollywood is completely swallowed up, y'all. What? Okay, check this out, y'all. What is this? Because isn't fog supposed to dissipate when the sun hits?
Yeah.
Right? And the sun looks like it's at its peak right now. So this thing shouldn't even be here. What is this? What is this? Why does it look like it's another dimension? I mean, things go in the fog and they completely disappear. Who knows what's happening in the fog and the mist? Doesn't this thing look like an ocean?
They do.
Oh my God. And then I don't know if you're hearing, but people are experiencing all types of complications from this thing. Look at this car. This car completely disappears, bro. Y'all, that car is gone. Where did it go? What the fuck, homie? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. This is downtown LA right now.
Can't see nothing.
That's where all the buildings are. Can't even fucking see if I say. Yeah, and this has been going on for 3 weeks now. 3 weeks. What kind of fog is so powerful that it will not dissipate from sunlight? And the thing is, people can't even stay away from this. They have to commute through this, y'all. You see what I'm saying? Sun is shining, but this thing is not going anywhere. What is this? Let me know down in the comments below, y'all. This looks apocalyptic. The shift is here. Let's get it.
Facts that'll give you nightmares. Many doctors have said that the most common last words that they hear are, "I don't feel so good." Most of the laughing sound effects that you hear on TV shows were recorded in the 1950s, meaning that most of those people that you hear laughing are probably dead. During the French Revolution, it was said that the guillotine had to be used multiple times to get the job done. The reason why planes shut their lights off right before they land is so that the passengers' eyes can adjust to the dark just in case there's a crash. This is so that if the power goes off during the crash landing, they can better find an escape route.
This
Crazy
girl
facts.
was born with 2 heads. Manar Magid was born in Egypt in 2004, but she wasn't born alone. Attached to her head was another head, a second skull, a face that could blink, smile, and move its lips, but had no body of its own. It was her twin, a parasitic twin, fused to her scalp and feeding off her bloodstream. The condition is called Craniohopicus parasiticus, and it's so rare that fewer than a dozen cases have ever been recorded in human history. The second head had no thoughts, no consciousness, but it moved, and it lived through her. Doctors feared that Manar wouldn't survive. The parasitic twin was draining her body's strength. Her organs overworked just to keep both heads alive. Every heartbeat, every breath, shared. In 2005, at just 10 months old, Manar underwent a high-risk surgery to remove the second head. The surgery was a success, and it was the first of its kind. And Manar lived. She opened her eyes, she smiled, but the victory was short. Just weeks after the surgery, she died of a brain infection. Her body simply couldn't keep up.
We have some crazy things happening in the world right now. Kim Jong-un watched as North Korea's newest warship literally fell off the dock. A man proposed to his girlfriend with a tornado swirling in the background. Nvidia is attempting to create an entire digital twin of the Earth. Rockstar changed the appearance of a character from the GTA 6 trailer after a Florida man claimed it was him and asked for money. AI can now guess passwords with 93% accuracy just by listening to the sounds of your keyboard keystrokes over Zoom. Can you guess that? Russian scientists thawed out 300 worms from Siberian permafrost, and 2 of them that are both over 30,000 years old came back to life. Don't think that's gonna end well for us. This is the world's last known white giraffe, and he is being tracked by a GPS after his female counterpart and calf were taken out by poachers.
Babies who were born on the literal perfect day. Back in 2019, a baby girl was born on July 11th, making the date 7/11. Well, the baby was also born at 7:11 p.m., and the baby also weighed 7 pounds and 11 ounces. From this, the convenience store 7-Eleven saw this and gave the baby $7,111, making this baby the most 7-Eleven baby in history. Next, in 2022, this baby girl was born at one of the craziest times possible because she was born on February 22nd, 2022, which is 2/22/2022. But she was also born at 2:22 a.m. and she weighed 7 pounds and 10 ounces, which makes her a total 122 total ounces. And I can't forget that she was born in room number 2 of the hospital. This is absolutely wild.
You know how all those things have to line up for something like that to happen? That's like truly rare.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Episode 20. Number 1. Coffin births. This is a rare phenomenon that is scientifically known as post-mortem fetal extrusion. It occurs when a pregnant woman dies and her body expels the fetus. The gases in the abdomen builds up and then forces the stillborn fetus out. Number 2. Jeannie, the feral child. Discovered in 1970, Jeannie was a girl who had been kept isolated by her family in Los Angeles for over a decade. She was almost entirely mute and had barely any exposure to human interaction or the outside world. Number 3. The Green Children of Woolpit. In the 12th century, 2 children with green-tinted skin appeared in the village of Woolpit in England. They spoke an unknown language and only ate raw beans. Eventually, their skin lost its green color and they adapted to normal food. The origin of these children still remains a mystery. Number 4. The Hinterkaifeck murders. In 1922, an entire family was mysteriously murdered at their farm in Germany. Reports found footsteps leading to their farm, but not away. This case was never solved. 6. The Devil's Kettle. In Minnesota, United States, there is a waterfall that splits into 2. One side flowing into a river and the other side vanishing into a hole. Scientists still don't know where that water goes. Number 7. NASA would never release information about asteroids approaching Earth. Not because they're worried about us freaking out, It's because we don't have the technology to detect if there are asteroids coming from very far away. Number 8. Human extinction. This is linked to number 7. We can't really confirm if any asteroids are coming to hit us because in 2017 an asteroid named AG-13 was about to hit Earth with less than the distance of the moon. The asteroid flew so fast, scientists were only able to see it 48 hours before it could have hit Earth. This is real information. Let me know if you want part 21.
First of all, these waves are screaming to you to not come in. And then to put your child in that situation and to record it.
This elephant killed a woman and crashed her funeral. In 2022, 70-year-old Maya Murmur was gathering water near her home in India. It was supposed to be a routine task, but that morning, a herd of wild elephants emerged from the nearby forest. Most villagers know to keep their distance. Maya tried to flee, but one elephant broke away from the group, chased her down, and trampled her with brutal force. She died at the scene. Her grieving family arranged a funeral later that day. As is custom, Maya's body was placed atop a wooden pyre for cremation, a solemn ritual under the open sky. But then, thunderous footsteps echoed in the distance. The same elephant had returned, and this time it brought reinforcements. A stampede of elephants crashed into the village mid-funeral, sending terrified relatives running for cover. In a scene that defied any logic, the very elephant that had killed Maya pulled her lifeless body from the pyre and trampled her a second time. Her remains were left mangled, and the ceremony was left in ruin. This elephant must have had some personal issues with Maya, and this death is just extremely unfortunate.
Inappropriate. I don't know what Maya did to the elephant, man, but that's insane. He literally came back to run the feed again, even though he already did it the first time, bro. That is extremely odd. I don't know what was going on with that elephant.
Children's books that actually exist, part 2. The Loneliest Hoe in the World, written by Travis Heaton and published in 2002, this Christmas tale begins with Santa preparing to depart with his reindeer. He congratulates his elves on a job well done by sharing with them some elf juice, and then boards his sleigh until coming to the realization that he's forgotten his hose. Christmas isn't Christmas without hose, Santa proclaims. Ain't that the truth? You Can't Be an Astronaut is Just Not Realistic, written by Joseph Smets. This book is a 26-page story that documents a boy who meets astronauts and shares his dream of having their career in his future. They point blank tell him not to bother. They go further by telling him of the complicated prerequisites and the difficult trigonometry. And when the boy asks if he can be an astrologist instead, they tell him astrology is a joke of a career.
Let's see if you have submechanophobia. I'm going to show you 5 photos. Try your best to make it through all 5. Let's start the test.
Here we go.
First one. How does this make you feel?
I'm okay.
Hang on in there. The ocean is terrifying.
What is that?
Last one. So how did you do? Did you make it through all 5? If not, then you could have submechanophobia, which is the fear of submerged man-made objects. Let me know if you have submechanophobia in the comments below, and remember to hit the plus sign and follow me to see if you can make it through the next phobia test.
I'm good.
Disturbing history facts I wish I didn't know. Tarare, a Frenchman from the 1700s, ate extraordinarily large amount of food, including animals and allegedly a baby. He suffered from polyphagia and died at 26. In 1888, James Jameson, heir to the Jameson whiskey fortune, bought a 10-year-old girl to observe her being unalived and eaten by cannibals in Congo. In the 18th century, dentures were sometimes made from the teeth of dead soldiers, notably those from the Battle of Waterloo, and sold to the wealthy. A Colorado farmer's chicken named Mike lived for 18 months without a head becoming a sensation and touring the U.S. Ancient Romans used human urine as a teeth whitening and stain remover for clothes due to its ammonia content. Frederick Bauer, the inventor of the Pringles can, was so proud of his invention that his remains were buried in a Pringles can after his death in 2008.
That man was dedicated to his invention, bro. His remains
As
in a
we all
Pringle
know,
can.
there's been a new wave of conflict in the Middle East, where multiple air bases were under attack, including the one in Qatar. The United Arab Emirates strongly condemns the attack, considering it a blatant violation of the sovereignty of the state of Qatar and its airspace. The act is also a clear breach of international law and the United Nations Charter. To the citizens and residents in the UAE, kindly stay away from sharing content that are not from a reliable source. If you do, you must know, spreading misinformation contributes to panic, confusion, and societal division. In times like this, awareness is a responsibility. Let it be clear, we are not in danger. Circulating unverified videos only fuels panic, when in reality, the situation on our soil remains stable and secure. Again, we are not in danger. If you do come across any information or incidents that may affect public safety, do not hesitate to report them. Here are the official numbers for the concerned national security authorities. All reports are handled with complete confidentiality. Put your trust in your leaders. The UAE has always stood for peace and progress. We do not and will not involve ourselves in political conflicts. We choose evolution, not war. May Allah keep us safe, united, and guided by wisdom.
Morbid Facts, Part 310. On the day before 9/11, George Carlin recorded a live set in Las Vegas titled I Kinda Like It When a Lot of People Die, intended as the closing segment of his next special on HBO. But after the attacks the very next morning, the title suddenly felt incredibly disrespectful for obvious reasons. Carlin wisely shelved the material and renamed the special Complaints and Grievances. A few years later, he planned to revive the original title for a new special, only to scrap it once again following the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. In 1959, popular New York DJ Peter Tripp locked himself in a glass booth in Times Square and attempted to stay awake for more than 200 hours as part of a publicity stunt. But as the days passed, Tripp's mind began to unravel. He started hallucinating vividly, screaming that doctors were imposters, believing that people were trying to poison him, and insisting that the furniture was on fire. By the end of it, he had entered a full-on psychotic state. Though he eventually recovered enough to return to broadcasting, those close to him said he was never the same psychologically. His stunt became one of the earliest public examples of sleep deprivation's terrifying effects on the human brain.
It's possible that
That's
your
insane,
best
bro.
friend might not consider you their best friend. You're not as nice as you think you are. Like, you're most definitely the villain in somebody else's story. Finding love isn't guaranteed in this life, and it's quite possible that the person that you might fall in love with one day in the future is in love with somebody else right now.
That's a sad fact.
This is why you should never play hide and seek. A mom decided to play hide and seek with her 2 kids. The mom began counting, ready or not, here I come. She begins searching the downstairs kitchen because she knows that they hide there every single time. As she's walking to the kitchen, she starts saying, I wonder where they are. She looks under the table and sees they aren't there, which is kind of odd. She knew they were too scared to go into the basement alone, but she decided to check anyway. They weren't there either. She began to panic. The mom then says, Jordan, Casey, come out now, mommy's not playing anymore. There was no answer. Panic really begins to set in. She decides to call 911 and reaches an operator. She tells the operator what's wrong and the operator sends an officer to her house. Once the officer arrives, he says, don't worry, we will find them. As she's sitting in the living room, she hears giggling and laughing and hears a closet door slam upstairs. She sprints upstairs and says, Jordan, Casey, you worried me sick. She opened the closet door and nobody was there. While all of this is going on, she hears the doorbell ring. She runs downstairs and finds the officer holding Jordan and Casey. The officer says, they were hiding in the shed out back. Then Jordan looks at mommy and says, why were you telling us to stay in the shed?
3 normal things in one country but shocking to the rest of the world. Part 12. Number 3. In Germany, the deposit system for bottles and cans actively encourages recycling. When you buy a drink, you pay a small additional sum, called Pfand, which is refunded when you return the empty bottle or can to a collection point. This initiative, aimed at promoting recycling and reducing waste, allows consumers to earn a bit of money in return. Number 2. In Japan, the tradition of Valentine's Day is somewhat different from many other countries. On February 14th, it is usually the women who give chocolates to men, whether it's romantic love, work colleagues, or friends. Men are not supposed to give gifts on Valentine's Day. However, they have their turn a month later, on March 14th, during White Day, where they are expected to give a gift in return to those who gave them chocolates. Number 1. Wow. Public toilets in America are often surprising to foreigners due to the lack of privacy they offer. Stalls are designed with large gaps between the doors and frames, allowing a partial view inside. Additionally, the doors are usually shorter, sometimes exposing users' legs. While this design is typical in the US, it can shock those who are used to complete privacy in public toilets.
The hell? Got some weird toilet designs going on around the
Biblical
world.
places that still exist. Jordan River, where Jesus was baptized.
Wow.
The rock that
Beautiful.
Moses struck and water came out. Jesus' tomb.
I heard they try to read that. That ain't well.
River of Galilee that Jesus walked on. Red Sea that Moses split. Synagogue that Jesus went to.
Gotta preserve all those sites.
Garden of Gethsemane where Jesus was arrested.
Full bloom.
Place where Jesus healed the paralytic. Place where Jesus told Sermon on the Mount.
3 extremely disturbing facts you won't believe are actually true. Number 3. In a bizarre case, an Ohio man was mistakenly declared dead by the Social Security Administration in 1979. Upon discovering this error in 1994, he immediately initiated legal action to restore his status as a living person. However, a judge refused to overturn the decision, stating that there was a 3-year limit to challenge such a declaration. As a result, this man is legally living as a deceased person in his own country. Number 2. There's a disturbing practice at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. The chicks that hatch live in front of visitors in their chick hatching exhibit are then sent to the Brookfield Zoo where they are fed to predator animals. This is a shocking truth hidden behind a seemingly innocent exhibit. Number 1. Disneyland and Disney World are iconic places, often associated with joyful family memories. However, there's a strange phenomenon that occurs in these parks. People so frequently scatter the ashes of their loved ones there that Disney had to establish a special procedure to deal with it. A dedicated team is ready to intervene as soon as an ash scattering is reported, cleaning up the area to maintain the park's joyful atmosphere.
You have to hear this. A man claims that he encountered a demon while working as security at a strip club. Protestant Christian YouTuber End Times Productions said that back in 2015, when he was 29 years old, he got hired as a security guy at a strip club in Key West, Florida. He said that he's a big guy, 6'4" and 225 pounds. And after a year, he worked his way up to becoming the main security guy there. He said that the club was open until 4 a.m. and that it was a very busy part of town. He referred to it as Party Central. He said that he has many stories about the place, but there's one night in particular that he will never forget. He said that one night at around 2:30 a.m., a woman tried to come into the club. He said that they would never let single women into the club because they would, quote, snipe the men. And they wanted all the men to stay there because they were paying the bartenders, the dancers, and the waitresses. So it was bad for business. On this particular night, the woman, who was around 40 years old, approached him and tried to make small talk. He said, okay, cool, but I can't let you in. She started to get a little upset and angry, but he said, sorry, no matter what you do or what you say, I can't let you in. She then grew more angry and started arguing with him. So he said, just leave before I call the police. What happened next is crazy. He said that she turned around and started to walk away. Then she turned back toward him with an evil grin on her face, but her eyes were completely black. There was no white in them at all. He said that shivers went up his spine and his blood ran cold. And he was thinking to himself, whoa, what just happened? As she walked out the door.
I don't know. That sounds like that could be a skinwalker. Eyes turned on black. Or case of the black eyed kids. Even was just doing his job. He wasn't letting her in. I don't know what her problem was. She could have been a demon. That's what he said. Yeah, late at night.
A 6-year-old took the life of his classmate because she rejected him. 6-year-old Dedrick Owens lived in Mount Morris Township, Michigan, which was about an hour away from the state's capital. He wasn't born into the best family as his father was in jail, but on the other hand, his mother was there and tried to support him and his brother as much as she could. She worked 2 jobs, but it wasn't enough and they got evicted. Dedrick ended up living in a crack house with his uncle, and this soon would affect his behavior. At 6 years old, his behavior was really bad. He would swear, flip people off, pinch, and hit other kids. His behavior got so bad that he had even stabbed a girl with a pencil in his school. On February 29th of 2000, Dedrick got into a fight with another male classmate. It escalated so quickly that he had even threatened to shoot the boy. No one knew that Dedrick had found a gun at his uncle's house and brought it with him to school along with a knife. He decided not to use it yet because he had plans on using it on 6-year-old Kayla Rowland. Just the day before, Dedrick tried to kiss Kayla, but she pushed him away and rejected him, which made him really mad and he wanted revenge. Once it was time to change classes, Dedrick walked up to Kayla and said, "I don't like you," and shot her once in the arm. The bullet entered her right arm and hit a vital artery, which caused her to suffer from a cardiac arrest, and she was pronounced dead. Dedrick had threw the gun in the trash before running to a nearby bathroom, but eventually was cornered by teachers and law enforcement. Once he was in police custody, he explained what he had done and showed no remorse. Because of Dedrick's age, he was not charged with murder, but was instead expelled for 90 days and was placed into foster care. His uncle ended up being arrested and sentenced up to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter.
These are brands with disturbing secrets. Surprisingly, Kellogg's cornflakes weren't invented as a tasty breakfast cereal, but to curb sexual desires. A fanatically religious John Harvey Kellogg invented the cereal while working at a sanitarium and believed that richer foods would increase your sexual desires while plain foods would lessen it. So he invented the most boring breakfast cereal ever to stop people enjoying themselves a little too much. Thankfully, his brother Will would come to the rescue and see some sense by adding sugar and marketing the cereal properly, eventually winning a legal battle for control of the whole company.
Whoa. We know that's the wrong theory.
Ants can live a really long time. Like, way longer than I thought. Your normal everyday ant can live like 4 to 15 years. And there have been queens on record living up to 28 years. Next time I have to step on an ant, I'm really gonna be like mourning their whole ass life. This is the hognose snake, and when it feels threatened, it'll puff itself up and hiss at you. But if that doesn't work, it'll flip itself over and play dead. And if you take the snake and flip it from its back to its belly, it'll just flip itself back over. Like, no, I'm supposed to be dead. Penguins are able to drink salt water like it's fresh water because they have this gland behind their eyes that actually filters their blood and allows them to sneeze the salt out. Now, I'm not saying that we need to hire a bunch of penguins to save the world or whatever, but it's an option.
You're spitting at the end.
According to a recent study on rainbow trout, fish can suffer for more than 20 minutes of intense pain after being taken out of the water. When fish are removed from water, their gills collapse, preventing oxygen intake and causing carbon dioxide to build up in their system. This triggers a strong physiological pain response, which researchers now widely accept as evidence that fish can experience real suffering. The study adds to growing scientific consensus that fish are sentient, capable of feeling pain, and should be treated more humanely in commercial fishing and aquaculture practices.
She lost her life from this poisonous birthday cake.
Where'd she get the cake from?
On March 24th of 2024, it was 10-year-old Manvi's birthday in India. For her birthday celebration, her family ordered a cake online from a place called Cake Ganha. Around 7 p.m., Manvi was cutting the cake in front of her family, and this was all being recorded on video. All of the family members, including Manvi, consumed the cake, and about 3 hours later, they all got really sick. Manvi and her sister began vomiting, and she even complained of extreme thirst and dryness in her mouth, so she asked for water. After drinking her water, she went to sleep, but by the morning her health would deteriorate. Around 3 a.m. is when everything would go downhill for Manvi, and her family rushed her to the hospital. When she arrived to the hospital, doctors administered oxygen to her and an ECG was done, but soon after that she passed away. Her family claimed that there had to be a poisonous substance in the cake since they all got sick and filed a report against the owner of Cake Kanha. Back at home, Manvi's family still had the cake sitting there, so they took a sample of it so it could get tested, and once it came back, it revealed that her cause of death was suspected food poisoning. Ultimately, high levels of synthetic sweetener made the whole family sick from eating this cake and even resulted in death.
Man, we gotta watch what they be putting into this food. Synthetic sweeteners, man, just for them to save some money. And look what happened. We gotta watch what we put into our bodies, man. Let's give us natural food from the earth, like it was intended.
Historical belongings that survived. King Edward VII love chair, made because he's fat and he had more than 50 mistresses. King Henry VIII armor. Queen Elizabeth I coronation glove. Comparison between Queen Elizabeth I and Elizabeth II coronation gloves. Catherine the Great furniture. Warning, do not look it up. Marie Antoinette's death mask. Queen Victoria's mourning dress. Shirt worn by King Charles I at the time of his execution. Queen Victoria's drawing of King Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Tooth and hair belonging to Catherine Parr.
The 3 most dangerous places you should never set foot. Number 3. The Hoia Baciu Forest, located in Romania, is often dubbed the Haunted Forest due to the many paranormal stories reported there. Many visitors have described feelings of anxiety, a sense of being watched, and some even claim to have seen ghostly apparitions. In addition to the inexplicable phenomena, the forest features oddly shaped trees in areas where vegetation doesn't grow at all, heightening its mysterious ambience.
Okay.
Number 2. The Chernobyl zone in Ukraine is the site of the biggest nuclear disaster in history. In 1986, a reactor at the nuclear power plant exploded, releasing significant amounts of radioactive material into the environment. Today, while some parts of the region are open for strictly controlled tours, others remain highly contaminated by radiation and can pose a severe health hazard. It's crucial to adhere to safety guidelines and not stray off marked paths. Number 1. The Valley of the Kings in Egypt, located on the west bank of the Nile near Luxor, is famous for its royal tombs dating back to ancient Egypt. While it's a popular tourist destination, it comes with risks. Beyond natural dangers like extreme heat and the risk of dehydration, there have been speculations and legends about the pharaoh's curse, where those who disturb the pharaoh's tombs would be cursed.
Facts that I wish I didn't know. When you die, the last thing to go is your hearing. So as all your other mortal sensations are leaving this world, the last thing you're ever going to experience are the sounds going on around you, which very well could be like your family members crying or cheering. By the year 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. When pigs get a cold, like a cough, very often they will shoot their intestines out of their anus, and farmers have to, like, stuff it back in.
That's disturbing.
This is why you should always keep pictures of your parents. A little girl named Olivia who lived a very quiet life decided to check her homework assignments that were posted online. The teacher posted that they needed to write down their favorite memory with their family as well as bring a photograph. Olivia then writes about how her and her mom play dolls every night in the basement before bed and that she has a lot of fun doing so. She finishes her paragraph and then looks in her dad's drawer for a photograph of mom. She only found pictures of her mom from high school but decided to use it anyway. Olivia goes to bed and wakes up the next morning. Once she arrives at school, the teacher then says, "Let's start presenting our project." Then the teacher called Olivia's name to present. hours in. Olivia then begins to read about how her and her mom play dolls every night and then pulls out the photograph. As soon as Olivia pulled out the photograph, her teacher's face goes numb. She then asks Olivia if she can take a closer look at the photograph. She then recognized her mom as one of her previous students. Then the teacher asks, "Where did you get this photo?" Olivia says, "My dad keeps them in his drawer." The teacher, shocked, sits down Olivia and pulls out an old newspaper. The newspaper headline, "Local high school teen murdered, boyfriend gone missing." The teacher then looks at Olivia and says, "Your mom has been dead for 14 years.
Politician's cloaking device came off and he revealed who he really was.
Why? So he's talking? Listen to his voice.
Okay.
Whoa. Whoa. It sounded a little demonic. He's drinking water to try to fix it, and it's not fixing. That was insane. I've never heard anyone's voice crack like that.
Me either.
Stay weird.
Here's some things you probably didn't know, because I didn't. Brazil is by far the country that takes the most showers every 12 hours on average. This man spent 5 months in jail because no one told him his bail was just $2. The Sahara Desert sends millions of tons of dust every year across the Atlantic to the Amazon rainforest. The dust is full of nutrients like phosphorus and iron, which is what actually keeps the Amazon rainforest alive and green. A woman in 2005 named Susan Bennett spent 4 hours a day recording random phrases and sentences, not knowing the purpose. It wasn't until 2011, after a friend who had bought the new iPhone 4S told her that she was the voice of Apple's Siri assistant. A recent study says that the ideal age to get married and have a lot of babies is 26 years old. They say that people who marry at this age have the lowest divorce rates, highest marital satisfaction, and better long-term stability compared to those who marry earlier or later. They say you're mature enough to make informed decisions, but young enough to have the energy and biological advantage for childbearing.
There is absolutely nothing that can convince me that this is not a two-way mirror in the kitchen. And that's a listing photo from this property that was recently for sale in Pennsylvania. Here's another view of it from outside, just for good measure. And then this is what you see as soon as you walk in. A mirror in the kitchen, not one, but two. And while I don't think this one is a two-way mirror, it still just seems unnecessary to have this in the kitchen, especially when it's facing another mirror. Isn't that bad feng shui? Now, at first glance, I thought that these were drag marks, which we have seen in prior listings, but it becomes abundantly clear as you begin to look at more listing photos that this was caused from a hoarding issue, which makes it all the more upsetting when you see evidence of children living in this space. While I must admit that the pink bathtub is kind of a vibe, what's not a vibe is this room. This room fills me with an overwhelming sense of dread. I can't tell you what happened here. Maybe it was nothing, but whatever it is, I don't like it. Am I alone in this, or is anyone else feeling what I'm feeling?
Africa. How is that house worth $40,000, man? The housing market is insane, bro.
Once a new world map, calling the current one the world's longest misinformation campaign. This week, the African Union officially backed what's called the Correct Map campaign, which aims to replace our current standardized world map with a version that shows a country's true size. You see, the Mercator map intentionally distorts the sizes of continents and countries for navigation purposes. So it appears that Africa is a similar size to the US or China, when in reality it is so much bigger that the US, China, India, Japan, and much of Western Europe can all fit into Africa, and there still would be space left over. The African Union says that this over 500-year-old map is outdated, and are now calling for schools, governments, and international institutions to adopt images that reflect a country's true size. They propose the Equal Earth projection because they say this is so much more than just a map. It's about Africa's identity and pride. In fact, the head of a campaign group backing this says it's the world's longest misinformation and disinformation campaign, and it simply has to stop. But the question is, what do you think? Does size truly matter, or is the current map fine the way it is?
I don't think they're gonna try to change it.
Live every day as if it's your last, because one day it will be. That statement holds true for these two influencers that were doing a food review sitting in a restaurant when all of a sudden their lives almost changed forever. If you haven't seen the video, It is a little shocking, so viewer discretion is advised. Take a look at this. Bon appetit. Enjoying their food in the restaurant. Wait for it. SUV crashes right through the restaurant where they're recording their food review. Just look at that in slow motion, how dramatic and scary that had to be for both. Thank goodness the two of them walked away with just minor injuries. It could have been the end for both. Nina Unrated and Patrick Blackwood are known for their food reviews all over social media. They're two incredibly great people, and we are grateful that they're both still with us today. This is the moment right here that possibly could have changed their lives forever. As I said at the beginning of this video, live every day as if it's your last, because one day it will be. And we are grateful that these two are with us today to give us another food review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Gotta live it up, man. You never know.
How you feel about this now abandoned indoor water park that had a giant T-Rex in it in Scotland, by the way. Like, just knowing that this water park is still there, but abandoned, probably completely closed off to the public, in the complete darkness, possibly still with water in it, who knows, with this giant T-Rex in it. Also, why does it have, like, the B word in its mouth? The red stuff. What? Oh my goodness, I just noticed that. There's also this guy there.
It's a dragon.
For some reason. That is equally horrifying. The shape of it looks like a pipe. I don't much care for him and his creepy teeth. It was called the Time Capsule, and here's it when it was, like, going, and once again, in Scotland, like this, there's a wave pool back here, so there's the ones with the grates, and oh my goodness. Also, this looks like something straight out of the back rooms. I don't like this whatsoever. Who wants to go on the launch pad of doom? They also had a giant water slide ussy in there. Why? More backrooms coated area. The fact that this is all abandoned now is just sickening. But especially that T-Rex. Imagine going down this little slide and just being in front of this T-Rex in water. Why would they do this?
Did you go to that part?
Give me your answer. I am crazy for the love of you. I was married. I can't afford the marriage. But you sweet upon the heat of a bicycle built for
Or should I pop out right there?
I don't think y'all understand. You cannot fucking make this shit up, y'all. We now have fucking squirrels with warts. Oozing warts. Oozing warts. They're calling them zombie squirrels. So we just had fucking rabbits with horns or tentacles growing out their face, their head. Now we got zombie squirrels? Look at this shit. They're calling this disease fibromatosis that squirrels have. Once again, y'all, I have never heard of this shit. I've never seen no fucking squirrel having this shit on their skin either. And I don't want to see it. Imagine you in your backyard and you just see an army of squirrels with this on their body running at you and shit. And the fucking Jones just start popping and oozing out shit. What is you doing? I know what I'm doing. Grabbing that motherfucking... Once again, y'all, wildlife experts said you shouldn't be concerned about this stuff. It doesn't spread to your animals or to you or to anybody you know. And once again, when they say that shit, I still be alarmed like, you saying it, but what if it do spread to me? Now I got big ass warts all over my body, nigga. Y'all let me know down below in the comments. Is this new to you? Have you heard about this before? Let me know. And if you seen this in your backyard, what are you doing? And if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you.
It is literally going to disappear in 2 days' time. If you didn't get a chance to see the meteor shower that's extremely rare, then make sure you watch this and share this with someone. This is actually even rarer, and it will not happen again until 2027 or 2028.
Okay.
This is known as the Black Moon, and we will literally be getting a Black Moon. Although this sounds scary, it's not, and it will be a chance for you to see some pretty insane things if the sky is clear. It is the third new moon of the season, which actually makes it a black moon, which is very rare. As I say, it's estimated to happen again in 2028 or 2027. It happens when it's in the new moon phase, as I say, and the illuminated side is actually facing away from Earth, meaning it's completely invisible to us. So wherever you are, you won't even be able to see the moon. It will just vanish, and you'll probably look up and go, what the hell, even if it's a clear night. Although you won't actually see anything, you're going to be able to see something else. With no light source, the sky will be so dark, making it a perfect opportunity to see the stars, stargaze, see comets passing, whatever else is up there. You don't often get a chance like this, so if you can get out of a city to somewhere with little light pollution, you're going to see some pretty crazy things.
What's going on these days? This kid just admitted to killing his mother while she was asleep because she took his phone away. To be honest, this isn't even a kid, this is a grown man. He's 21 years old, got mad at his mother that she took his phone, killed her. Now he's gonna spend 30 years behind bars because of this. He was 16 years old at the time when he came home from a night shift and shot his mom, you know. Instead of giving the phone back, she went upstairs and she just went to sleep, you know, she took the phone away, whatever. But instead of sneaking in the room and getting a firearm and stuff like that and shooting your mom, why don't you just sneak in the room and grab the phone and just go downstairs? That would have solved two issues right there. You know, he would be going to jail and he would have had his phone back. He then called his girlfriend to say he found his mom covered in blood in the bed, you know, acting like he didn't do it. You know, the girlfriend's dad came over, saw that she was dead, and then the guy's stories just did not match up whatsoever. Eventually, he was just like, screw it, you know, he admitted to killing her after a while. Because he was a juvenile, too, at the time, that's why he probably didn't get a life sentence or, like, you know, the death penalty if they have that where they're from in Tennessee. But this is such a senseless case.
Here's some over a phone,
examples
really?
Of the Mandela effect, part 4.
Do you remember sitting at your TV as a kid and seeing this come on?
Nah, you unk status if you did though. Looney Tunes, the OG.
Most people will recall this being spelled like this. However, this was never the case. It was always spelled as tunes, not tunes.
If you want or plan on buying Great Value shrimp, you better think twice about it. So the FDA is warning the public not to eat, serve, or sell Walmart's Great Value shrimp. And they're telling you this because it got contaminated with a radioactive substance. You heard what I just said? Walmart could be possibly selling radioactive shrimp. So apparently they detected these radioactive shrimp before they crossed the border. And if you didn't know, they were coming from an Indonesian distributor. And what they're saying this means is that none of these radioactive shrimp made it across the border. Or did they? But hear this out. This shit is becoming real convenient. First you have radioactive bees. Now you have radioactive shrimp. Now they're saying that all products are going to be banned from coming into the United States from this company. But what company are they talking about? Are they talking about Great Value? Or are they talking about the Indonesian company that they was getting the shrimp from? Think about it as this. Great Value is a cheap option. People usually like to get the cheap option. Is this the only time we're going to have to worry about a situation like this? Radioactive shrimp? What's next? I'm out.
He's spitting, bro. Everybody, man, when it comes to that price range, bro, they were always gonna go for the cheaper option. I wouldn't eat freaking buy seafood from freaking Walmart like that anyway. That's just not me, man. But when you got radioactive shrimp, radioactive freaking hornets, man, what's going on this year, bro? There's a lot of radioactive activity.
Ever heard of Skinny Bob?
This is scary. It sounds scary.
It's a little spooky. Skinny Bob was this random video posted by this channel, Ivan0135 on YouTube. And this video was posted 11 years ago. But in this video, a collection of videos from 1942 to 1969 of interviewing an alien. The crazy thing about this Ivan0135 dude, never monetized the videos, never came out and said who it was. So you look at that and you you think that does kind of look like it'd be CGI or something, right?
Yeah.
It's been tested by studios, and it has not been discredited yet.
Ever?
Ever. They said the way that it was filmed, because it was filmed on like one of those old cameras.
Yeah.
They said it was completely accurate with an old camera. The theories are that it was a real government film, simply that it's connected to the Majestic 12 group. That's basically what we would call the Men in Black now.
Okay.
But it's a group of like different
division of that, the CIA.
The government,
that just focuses on that.
Some believe that was actually from the KGB too. No one's taking credit for it either.
Maybe that was the whole thing. It's like, I can't put my name on this, but I can put it out.
It's insane.
Now, of course, Google will tell you these inventors were nothing but con men, liars, frauds, or just scientists with great ideas who didn't know any better. It will also tell you 0 point energy is impossible, and anyone who stands up for it or even talks about it is attacked or shamed for spreading misinformation. Google debunkers. Compliant NPCs who believe they can irrefutably debunk any extreme claim with a 5-second Google search truly are the downfall of society. The modern-day version of Vladimir Lenin's useful idiot. Google debunkers. Love you guys. You're not allowed to talk like that. You present your theories as if they are fact.
Morbid Facts, Part 702. Carlos Haffy Rodriguez was ejected through a windshield in a drug-fueled crash as a teenager, smashing his skull so badly that surgeons had to remove the entire upper half of it, leaving his brain covered only by skin. Incredibly, he survived without any severe cognitive damage, but went on to rack up arrests for drugs, arson, and other crimes, his caved-in head becoming one of the internet's most infamous mugshots. Here's a photo of tobacco company CEOs declaring under oath that nicotine is not addictive. The moment became infamous when internal documents later revealed that tobacco executives had known for decades about nicotine's highly addictive properties and had even manipulated nicotine levels in cigarettes to enhance dependency. In 18th century Europe, the wealthy often devoured sugar with no real dental care, rotting their teeth into black stumps that often fell out. To keep up appearances, they wore dentures, not wooden as legend claims, but often filled with real human teeth. These were bought from the poor, pulled from slaves or prisoners, or scavenged from battlefields, sometimes still bloody from fallen soldiers. With no concept of sterilization, they could carry infections, even syphilis, into the wearer's mouth. In advanced cases, the disease could slowly eat away at the face, collapsing the nose and leaving a grotesque hollow mask where features used to be.
So they
Your nicotine fact was insane.
Taking the natural process away, I don't too much like that. What make this more interesting is look who's behind this project. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this video in the comments on what y'all think about them just making food poof out of thin air from a machine. In the comments, like or follow for more wisdom, and stay tuned.
People are now mad at Jenna Ortega after what she just said on the newest red carpet for Wednesday Season 2, and people are not happy with Jenna's response. So after Jenna Ortega was at a Wednesday red carpet in South Korea, after people are saying that Jenna Ortega was giving an interviewer a hard time, and even more worse, so this is all coming after some strange behavior that Jenna has been doing on the other Wednesday red carpets. They're saying that she is being shy one moment, then happy the next, as well as other moments where she has been crashing out on fans that have been asking for autographs, with a lot of people saying that there seems to be something wrong and that all of this drama in South Korea makes everything so much more worser. And this is where it gets even more insaner. So what happened is that on the red carpet in South Korea, where a magician was doing a magic trick to Jenna Ortega, the magician asked her what kind of card that Jenna Ortega had, and her response was spade. And seemingly the magician asked her if she could repeat what she said, and then Jenna was seemingly not happy that she had to repeat herself, and the way that she said spade the second time, should people really be mad over this?
So this guy drags a magnet across sand on a beach and picks up a bunch of heavy metals, and you'll actually see him melt down these metals, and it's interesting what you see at the end here. Perhaps aluminum, you know, something that they admit that they're spraying in the skies. Look at this, he melts it, takes some water. Where do you think this is coming from, guys? Where do you think these heavy metals are coming from?
3D printed steak is here. Let me show you this, and after I do, I'll tell you why it's not so great.
A juicy, sizzling steak made by computer. While obtaining regular meat is a process that's been taking place for millennia, cow, butcher, beef, redefined meat a meat alternative startup out of Israel, makes their product using a highly technical process. The mix of soy and pea protein, chickpeas, beetroot, nutritional yeast, and coconut fat is formed into steak-like shapes using a 3D printer.
Our goal is to become the largest meat company in the world just by harnessing technology instead of animals.
Meat substitutes are not new, but unlike the soy-based crumbles that mimic ground beef, Redefined Meat's product is designed to act, taste, and cut with happy.
The texture feels right. Even the smell smells like the real thing. Really authentic for me.
Now, I'm not going to talk about that company at all. But if somebody else is making 3D printed meat, how can we possibly know what's really in it? Especially if it tastes like the real thing. There's this stuff called microplastics that's become so prevalent from all the stuff that people have made with plastics that it's being found in human tissue. Who's to say some company making 3D printed meat couldn't accidentally put some of that in there? Look, I'm gonna keep eating the way I do, cause I'm old, fat, and the damage is done for me. But to the younger people out there, I say, please be cautious. Cause after stories like this, you never know what you're really eating. Shabadubushkis!
Attacks Part 7, the dude who was attacked by a swarm of raging bees. 23-year-old Alex Bechler and a friend were on a hike in Usuri Mountain Park in Arizona when suddenly, without provoke, a swarm of bees suddenly attacked them. The aggressive swarm of bees stung Alex more than 1,000 times. His friend was able to flee and hide in a nearby bathroom. Several people tried to help Alex as he lay on the ground swarmed with these bees, but every time the bees would drive the people away. A sheriff finally used a UTV to get close enough to him, and still covered in bees, he grabbed Alex and fled with the bees pursuing. Once at the hospital, Alex was pronounced dead.
Man.
Creepy videos that you shouldn't watch at night, but you're going to anyway, part 10. I just held up 5, what the fuck. And for my dark web lovers, you will love this video, because this one actually surfaced on the dark web. Also, I might be going on a TV show. I got contacted by a company to make a TV show on Discovery Channel, pretty much about dark web and creepy videos, so thank you guys. So make sure to show some love so we can get him to see it. I just like my lights out. Alright, the video has since been deleted, but people actually downloaded it, so I'm just on YouTube. So this is in binary code. If anybody wants to decode that, please let me know. This video is pretty scary, so let's watch. What the fuck?
What's he wearing?
Oh, hell no. Here's the full binary code, so just save the video. So if you guys need help sleeping at night, click the link in my bio. And once you click the link, click on Get a Peaceful Sleep, and it's an app, download it, and you will get the most peaceful sleep of your life.
I don't know what the hell.
Scary facts that will blow your mind. Part 2. The Hoia Baciu Forest is considered the most haunted forest in all of Romania. Hundreds of people have gone missing within these woods, among other things like screams, laughter, babies crying, people being attacked by unseen paranormal forces, strange balls of light, UFOs, and in the very center of the forest lies a clearing where no plant life will grow. It is believed that this spot is a portal to another dimension. What do you think? Like and follow for more.
They need to freaking shut down that whole forest, man. You hear me screaming laughter, bro. That whole spot, where that little circle spot where it's just like nothing else is going. I feel like that's just like a portal, man, with some bad energy around there. Close it down.
Interesting people you've never heard of. This fisherman survived 6 hours in freezing water after his ship sank. He then walked near lava fields for 3 hours barefoot, and when he returned to safety, there were no signs of hypothermia, even though he was just wearing a shirt and jeans. Frank Hart was the first black athlete on a sports card back in 1880. This environmental activist climbed an over 1,000-year-old tree and didn't come back down for over 2 years. This farm boy from Idaho came up with the idea for an electronic television while he was plowing a field at 14 years old. This Italian banker over a 7-year period diverted over €1 million to his poorer clients from the wealthier clients so that they could qualify for loans. He made no profit and avoided jail in 2018 due to a plea bargain. This physician proved that yellow fever could be transmitted through a mosquito bite and unfortunately passed away from that mosquito bite just 17 days later.
He was dedicated to showing the truth, man. He's a seeker of the truth for real.
This is known as the doll that aged. The doll used to look like this and was played with by a couple of kids, but then they started to grow up, so the doll was just locked away in the attic for like 14 years. So then as the parents went up to the attic to like clean it out, they were shocked to find the doll look like this.
How the hell was the doll aging?
Disturbing things Disneyland doesn't want you to know. A few years ago in Disney World, Florida, a little boy was snatched by a crocodile, and his remains were found a few hours later in a lake next to the park. Apparently the kid was just next to the water when the crocodile ate him up. Next, did you know that Disneyland has only closed 3 times throughout history? They were when JFK was shot, after a massive earthquake in 1994, so let's just say they count on keeping their parks open for as long as possible. And finally, some rumors say that the skulls on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride are actually real human skulls. And if that's real, that is pretty messed up.
Fun fact, never been in Disney World ever.
Did you guys hear about the 34-year-old teacher that was essaying a 13-year-old student, and it turns out that they possibly have a 5-year-old child together? I'm at the point where this stuff doesn't even surprise me anymore because it's been happening so often lately. This woman's name is Laura Karen, and she was a 5th grade teacher in Middle Township Elementary School in New Jersey. So this whole thing started when Laura became the victim's teacher in the 5th grade. Laura and the victim's mother became friends, got to know each other, and she offered to take care of her kids. The victim, who was 11 years old at the time, was staying at Laura's house with his siblings regularly. Now, the kids went from going to Laura's house every day to then actually staying there permanently. It was said the kids did not go home anymore, and they basically lived in Laura's house from 2016 to 2020. During that time, the 11-year-old was being essayed by Laura, and allegedly they have a child together. Then fast forward a few years later, the victim's father saw a photo of Laura's child on Facebook, and he said, "This kid looks a lot like my son." He called police and an investigation began, and Laura was arrested, but they're still waiting on the DNA results. Now, when the siblings were asked if they saw anything weird going on in the house, they said that Laura and their brother slept in her bed every single night. And not only that, but apparently they also showered together, and they caught Laura essaying him one night. The siblings also said that when this baby was born, they knew that this was their brother's child, but they were told not to say anything because then Laura would get in trouble. And you guys won't believe this, but Laura was just released from jail until her next court date. This should be a wake-up call to people who leave their kids with literally just anyone. A lot of people believe that just because someone's a teacher, you can fully trust them, but what you may not know is that a lot of predators get positions that revolve around children just so that it's easier to get away with this kind of stuff.
Interesting people you've never heard
Can't trust
of.
anybody.
This dude ran out of gas in rural Maine in 1986 and then spent the next 27 years living isolated in the woods. This man was killed on a street in Brooklyn just before midnight on 9/11/2001, making him the sole victim of murders on that day because New York does not count the 9/11 attacks in its crime statistics, and his murder remains unsolved. This convicted Japanese war criminal recreated his prison cell at home because he believed that his 10-year sentence was too short, and he stayed there till he passed away. This professional swimmer retired due to lung complications after saving 20 people from debris-filled waters. Japan welcomed their first female fighter pilot in 2018 after she was inspired by Top Gun as a child. This basketball player slammed his head into a concrete post after he was frustrated getting his 5th foul and ultimately was never able to walk again.
Disturbing facts that will ruin your day. Firstly, you know these vacuum toilets that are most commonly used on planes and cruise ships? Well, there have been many reports of them sucking the rectum out of people when they flush. Next, this is just disappointing. 1 in 4 Americans actually believe that the sun rotates around the earth. Now, studies show that the average person will wait 5 months of their lifetime for red lights to turn green. You know when you're watching a movie or TV show and you hear these laugh tracks in the background? Well, most of them were recorded in the 50s, so you're hearing dead people laugh. This will ruin your childhood. The Red Power Ranger, Ricardo Medina, pleaded guilty to killing his roommate with a sword. Finally, you are now closer to death than you were when you started this video.
You ruined the Power Rangers for us, man. Who watched that when you was a kid, bro? Man, what's up with these actors, bro? It's like, once they lose their gig, it's over.
Disney princesses' gloves. Take a look at all of the Disney princesses. Some are wearing gloves, some aren't. You'll notice that all the ones who aren't wearing gloves are commoners who married into royalty. Boo's real name in Monsters, Inc. is Mary. And this is the same as the young girl who voices Boo. Her name is Mary Gibbs. And her name is only visible when she's in their apartment and they're making drawings and her name is on the paper. Bambi only uses 72 unique words throughout the entire film. And in total, there are only about 900 words spoken throughout the entire thing as well. To get Robin Williams to play the genie in Aladdin, animators created a sequence of the genie performing Robin Williams stand-up routines. And this was one of the ways they pulled in Robin Williams for this part. Simba literally means lion. In Swahili, Simba directly translates to lion.
I never do that. What the hell? So his name is his name.
Only kids can hear this sound. So scientists discovered a sound they believe only kids can hear. The name of the sound is mosquito tone and it is at a frequency of 17 kilohertz. This is the sound. Let me know if you can hear it.
In 3, 2, 1.
So
I don't.
Did you hear the sound? Sophomore?
Did Doja Cat sell her soul and now she's in the Illuminati? She recently celebrated her 27th birthday with the Illuminati themed party, and they say when you sell your soul, like the devil takes something from you. Watch this clip, it's weird. That clip is not from her birthday party, but basically she's making all these weird faces. We know her music is a little symbolic, but just watch this other clip of her looking like she's glitching, she's glaring off into space, it's weird.
Yo, check out Doja Cat here. Tell me she don't time out. Looks like she just... Yo, what happened to her?
She glitched.
Yo, she glitched.
Celebrities are kind of weird, like we've seen Cardi B space out in the middle of interviews, but when you're winning an award, that seems like a time when you shouldn't be like spacey. What do you guys think about this? Do you think she sold her soul?
Man, people in the industry, you know, some, like I said, her music is like symbolic, so, but to say that she had a birthday party and that was the theme, I don't know if that's just like trying to be hidden in plain sight, or she's just trying to, you know, like, try to, you know, reflect that narrative back and just trying to, you know, be like, oh, it's just a party. It's everywhere, man.
Times when jokes backfired big time. In 2006, the high-end water Fiji ran an ad campaign jokingly saying the label says Fiji because it's not bottled in Cleveland. Well, the city of Cleveland, Ohio saw this and were offended because what did they ever do to deserve this? So rightfully, the city of Cleveland tested their tap water and found that it was actually cleaner and tastier than Fiji water. Next, several years ago, a California man jokingly got a personalized license plate that read no, and thought it would trick the database so whenever he got a ticket, it would register as no, meaning nothing. Well, the problem with that is, anytime there was an error on anyone else's license plate, they assigned it to him. He got $12,000 in fines.
Try to trick the system, ain't work.
This post made me think, what animal am I glad that I don't have to deal with? I'm cool with most animals, but I think I draw the line at bears, especially grizzly bears. And so the idea of the giant, short-faced bear is something I definitely find frightening. These were like grizzly bears, but much bigger. These were found in the Americas and went extinct towards the end of the last ice age.
Ooh.
So around 12,000 years ago. I don't know what it is about bears, but there's something about them that freaks me out more than any other animal. I'm not really sure why. Maybe one of my ancestors got chomped. As always, come talk on my Discord. You could even suggest content. Though the stickers are getting a little questionable. Info on my Discord in pinned.
Which animals are y'all glad that went extinct? Maybe the dinos for me. Could you guys imagine dinosaurs roaming the earth right now? Especially with the T-Rex. Nah.
Has anybody ever told you the terrifying true story of Snow White? I'm sure by now we all know the Disney version, but the Brothers Grimm version, which came before the Disney version, is actually much darker. In this version, the evil queen orders the huntsman to take Snow White into the woods, kill her, and bring back her liver and lungs for the queen to eat. Which is obviously very disturbing, but there's actually more to the story. Later in the story, the prince and Snow White are getting married, and they invite all the royalty in the land. The evil queen shows up, unknowing it was her stepdaughter's wedding. When she arrives, she's forced to step into burning hot iron shoes brought from the fireplace, and then she has to dance until she dies. And that's her punishment for trying to go after Snow White. I don't really feel bad for her, but gosh, I mean, this version is terrifying.
What's something small that completely changed the course of history? I'll go first. If not for a wobbly chair, we probably wouldn't have Social Security today. Giuseppe Zangara was an Italian immigrant who came to America in the 1920s for a better life. But he had a condition with his gallbladder that caused him immense pain and made him often unable to work. At the height of the Great Depression, there is a political rally near where Giuseppe lives in Miami. Giuseppe is a desperate man, and he was also a marksman in the Italian army. However, he was also only 5 feet tall, so he needs to stand on a wobbly metal chair in order to see over the crowd and get a good aim at President-elect Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Giuseppe fires 5 shots, but because the chair is wobbly, he hits the mayor of Miami instead of FDR. This was FDR's vice president at the time, John Nance Carter, a conservative Democrat from Texas who opposed New Deal policies like Social Security. And if it weren't for a wobbly chair, he would have been president instead of FDR.
Whoa. Change the course of history.
What is the
she needs
craziest
justice.
thing someone's confessed to on their deathbed? Well, a deathbed confession made this year solved a 20-year-old cold case. And this is coming from the Heart Starts Pounding podcast episode that's all about cold cases that were solved this year. So this year in West Virginia, a man named Larry Webb was dying. And before he died, he called a nurse over and said he needed to get it off his chest that he killed a woman and her daughter back in 2000. It turns out that back then, a woman named Susan Carter and her 10-year-old daughter Alex were living with Larry while Susan was in a custody battle with Alex's father. One day they just disappeared, but because they were together when they disappeared, police assumed that Susan just ran away with her daughter. But Larry confirmed that that's not what happened. The story he gave on his deathbed is that one day he came home to see that Susan was stealing money from him, and so he shot her. And then panicking, he wanted to get rid of all the witnesses, and that included Alex, her daughter. And to me, the craziest thing in all of this is that Larry had really bad dementia, so when he gave this confession, they weren't really convinced that it was true. But the day after he died, both of their remains were found in his backyard. If you want to hear more on that story and other cold cases that were solved this year, check out the Cold Cases That Were Solved This Year episode of the Heart Starts Pounding podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
When it's the end, man. When the end is near, people, that's when they want to tell the truth, I guess, you know. Get it off their chest. I'm burdened.
The world's most dangerous conspiracy theories. This picture represents conspiracy theories from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these theories say once you learn the truth, there's no return. For this series, we're going to be picking some from each category until we reach Tier 10, the point of no return. Tier 10 is so scary that some people are saying that I will die before I even reach Tier 10. Okay, Tier 1. Today we're going to be talking about cryptozoology. Cryptozoology is defined as the search for animals whose existence is disputed. For example, Bigfoot, Chupacabra, and the Loch Ness Monster. For this one, I'm going to talk about the Ningen. The Ningen is based in Japan. It's an aquatic humanoid creature that can be larger than a whale but also mutate into a human. I know what you're thinking. No way this is real. I thought the same thing until I saw this. In 2007, a company published a magazine with Ningens on the cover. The magazines were completely destroyed with no trace, but I found the PDF file of what it looked like. It gets even weirder. Early February 2013, a huge mysterious object washes ashore that makes locals freak out. 3 days later, the website was taken down without a trace. Doing some more research, I found out that people from Japan created a forum page talking about all of the government corruption that was happening. They then began to speak on the Ningen, and somebody says that he was on the research ship when they captured it on camera, and then government officials raided the boat and even supposedly killing some of the people. 3 days later, the forum page was taken down without a trace, but I found it once again, and take a look at one of the videos somebody posted. So what do you think? Is this Ningen just some myth, or is the government hiding something much darker? This was only Tier 1. Make sure to follow to see Tier 2 because we have a lot more to cover. Did you know
some truth to that.
4 Forks were used in ancient China, which were then replaced by chopsticks. It has rained more in Los Angeles this year than in Seattle. Your red blood cells only live about 120 days. Coke had 3 different opportunities 100 years ago to buy Pepsi and refused every single time. Christmas lights used to be a status symbol because they would often be rented instead of bought because they were so expensive. This river in the Amazon has boiling water. Australia has the highest skin cancer rate in the world. Angel Falls in Venezuela is the highest uninterrupted waterfall in the world. The Eiffel Tower can be taller by about 15 centimeters in the summer due to the increased temperatures expanding the metal. It only took Lady Gaga 10 minutes each to write Poker Face, Born This Way, and Just Dance. The Cubs 2016 World Series ring includes an engraving of the Billy Goat that was refused entry in the 1945 World Series, which caused the owner to lay a curse on the team.
One of my favorite Saw traditions is back. For those who don't know, for every Saw movie that comes out, they have a Saw blood drive. It's a partnership with the Red Cross. They did it for the very first Saw movie as a way to promote the film. If you come and give us some blood, we give you free tickets to see the movie. But the original filmmakers saw how successful this was. They saw how many people came out to donate blood, and they decided they wanted to do it again, but just to mostly help people than anything. And they did this for the Saw movies 1 through 8. And by the time Saw 8, aka Jigsaw, finished its promotional campaign, over 360,000 total lives have been saved because of the Saw franchise. I did make a video talking about this back in 2021. Wow, the difference a few years makes. They had to skip over the blood drive for Spiral, I'm assuming because of COVID-related reasons, but now it's back for Saw X, and the posters look so good. They're also advertising all blood types are accepted from all-
is gone. The person you see in that video isn't the same anymore. Dude, who even is this woman? That is not the Jenna Ortega we all remember. She showed up like this in London at the premiere of season 2 of Wednesday. Look at this. This was Jenna Ortega maybe 2 years ago before the whole transformation started, and even here she still looked like her. There was light in her eyes, her face had life, she had a real personality, but since that premiere everything's just off. She lost everything that made her glow, and that jawline, it literally broke the internet. What the hell is going on with all of these celebrities transforming like this? There's a leaked video of Jenna Ortega that just came out, and you can clearly tell something's not right. If you want to see that video before it gets taken down, tap share, then tap more and open it in your browser. I don't get how people aren't seeing the difference between this Jenna Ortega and the new Jenna Ortega. How does someone with so much potential, so much natural beauty, ruin her appearance like that? Something dark is happening, but who's behind it all? What the hell is going on in Hollywood?
Have you guys heard the story of the woman who got swallowed by a python in Indonesia? If not, I'd stick around. In October of 2022, a 54-year-old Indonesian woman by the name of Jara was walking through the forest to her job at a local rubber plant when she disappeared and didn't return home for 2 days. The family then grew worrisome, and after the husband of the woman actually went out looking for her and all he found were her tools and the clothing that she was wearing when she disappeared, he actually called together a search party to find his missing wife. During the search party, local villagers that were helping the family find their relative actually spotted a 16-foot python that had a very swollen stomach and seemed to be carrying something quite large. As soon as the villagers spotted the snake, they decided to unalive it and cut it open to see what the snake had inside of its stomach. And when they did, everyone was astonished at what they found. It had been discovered that the 54-year-old woman had been swallowed whole by the python. And the scary thing is, this isn't the first time this has happened in Indonesia. Y'all, she was swallowed whole. I just wanted to repeat that. Down to the snake right there that was cut open. Yeah, it's pretty terrifying. And I'm not going to give y'all a history lesson, but in simple terms, snakes have very flexible ligaments inside of their jaws that allows them to wrap around huge prey. And it just so happened that this 54-year-old Indonesian woman was the prey this time. So that finalized me never going to Indonesia, ever.
This
Me too. I ain't going.
is horrifying. The rules are simple. 50 boys, 3 miles an hour, but if you stop walking, you die. And even though there's no finish line, no one knows how far the road goes, the only way to win is to be the last one alive. And with every mile, more boys are eliminated as the crowd cheers for who they think will be the champion. But why would anyone enter a contest like this?
Is it because the prize is anything you could ever dream of, or because the only thing worse than dying is living the life that you walked away from? Some of the boys are doing it for the money. Some are doing it for the fame. But some of them just simply have nothing to lose. But if you want to see who's going to become the winner, and just how far they have to go, check out The Long Walk, in theaters September 12th. And guys, let me know, how far could you go?
Here are some Halloween
Not that
costumes
far.
that we need to retire ASAP. We've beaten them to death. Leading the pack, we have the Purge. First of all, if you think you're gonna survive the Purge in a crop top and high heels, honey, you got a big storm coming. Can we all agree that this has just fallen into the category of lazy costumes when you have nothing else to be? Move on. Next up, we have the frat bro. Let's be honest, I have never seen a frat brother wearing a tie at a party. And button-downs and hats are only occasional. People who dress as this have never actually been to a frat party. Where are the vomit-covered jerseys and court cases? Then we have the laziest, most basic of all, the angel and the devil. Who are we fooling? We're all going to hell anyway. Sometimes these could be really good, but most times not. Next up, we have the M&M group costume. I love M&Ms, but this lazy-ass costume makes me wish they never existed. Let's get more creative. Let's be left Twix and right Twix. And lastly, we have any costume that involves ears. If you just wear the ears, it doesn't fucking count. Boo!
I ain't gonna lie, yeah. Those costumes. If you wear those, man, you're OG. We're here. In the middle of the night, nowhere, brick road. Pitch black. Wouldn't be me.
The Rarest Creatures on Earth, Part 2. Snowflake was an albino gorilla that used to live at Barcelona Zoo in Spain. Sadly, he was euthanized in 2003 after being diagnosed with a rare form of skin cancer, likely as a result of his condition. He was the world's only known albino gorilla.
Wow.
The blue dragon is the rarest mollusk in the world and looks like something from outer space. Speaking of aliens, this octopus with 85 tentacles was found near Japan in 1957. This cat suffers from myostatin-related hypertrophy, a very rare condition that causes the muscles to grow excessively large. But he's still no match for Hercules the 900-pound liger, who's officially recognized as the largest cat in the world. He lives at a wildlife preserve called Myrtle Beach Safari in South Carolina. In 2011, the red-crested tree rat was thought to be extinct for 113 years until it casually appeared on the handrail of an eco-lodge in Colombia. It let researchers photograph it for more than 2 hours before disappearing into the night, never to be seen again.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. John said that back in the 80s, when he was a young patrol officer in Phoenix, Arizona, he was the first to arrive at a motorcycle accident. The Harley Davidson was torn apart across the asphalt. The rider, a big man with a thick beard and arms covered in tattoos, lay crumpled beside the wreck. His chest looked wrong, sunken in. Each breath, a desperate gasp. I need to go to confession, he choked out, blood bubbling at the corner of his mouth. Should have gone yesterday, he said. John said that he knelt beside him, trying to keep him talking, but the man's eyes were wide, darting at things that John couldn't see. I've done terrible things, he said. Murder. It's coming for me. His voice broke into a panic chant. Please, God, help me. God, please help me. Then softer. It says my soul belongs to him now. It has horns. John said that his last words came out in a trembling whisper. I'm going to hell, he said. And with the word hell, the man's body gave one last shudder and went still, his expression frozen in horror. The paramedics pulled up less than a minute later, but John knew that they were already too late.
Is the zombie from Wednesday Season 2 secretly Thing the Hand? There's a book called Adam's Family and Evolution that shows that Thing used to be a full-bodied person. I circled him on the cover of the book. I can't find any photos, but apparently he had 8 legs. Thing was considered to be the family's helping hand, and he would basically hide in the shadows silently and then jump into action when the family would need him. In the 50s, the creators leaned into like the creepy, mysterious vibe of the character, and they made him just a helping hand. Same with the film in the 90s, and even now in
2025, Wednesday tells Enid that Thing is one of the Addams family's biggest secret. But how does the zombie fit into all of this? This is the only photo of the book I can find online, so I am just going by other people's word of mouth that this character has 8 legs. And clearly the zombie doesn't have 8 legs. But here's the thing, Slurp only uses his left hand, and Thing is a right hand, and he fully does not have a right hand. And that's where this theory really stems from. Maybe Slurp's right hand is out there doing its own thing. And we have to think about Slurp's reaction during the Willow Hill breakout. His startled, scared reaction might be that he realizes that his missing body part has gained its own agency. Another really big thing to note is Thing emerges from the skull tree, and that's huge. This is the tree that is tied to Slurp's origin story. So it makes sense for the storytelling if a part of him is literally like coming out of it. It's a little clue for the viewer. Do you think Thing is Slurp's right hand? Let me know your thoughts. I'm not sure this lines up with the Addams family lore necessarily, but I think if the show is doing its own thing, this could work. Follow for more.
Now, of course, Google will tell you these inventors were nothing but con men, liars, frauds, or just scientists with great ideas who didn't know any better. It will also tell you 0-point energy is impossible, and anyone who stands up for it or even talks about it is attacked or shamed for spreading misinformation. Google debunkers, compliant NPCs who believe they can irrefutably debunk any extreme claim with a 5-second Google search, truly are the downfall of society. The modern-day version of Vladimir Lenin's useful idiot. Google debunkers. Love you guys. You're not allowed to talk like that. You present your theories as if they are fact.
The most famous actor in the world spends $30,000 a day to stay alive, even though he no longer has the strength to open a simple bottle. We all know Daniel Radcliffe, the legendary star of Harry Potter, but what nobody knows is that he is fighting an incurable disease. He may have a $450 million fortune and lots of real estate, but that is not what will save him. His castle even had to be turned into a medical center with a team of nurses on site every day for him. He supposedly even bought a volcanic island in Hawaii to slow his muscle loss. He has tried everything money can buy, experimental therapies, holy waters, cold chambers. His hands shake so much he can no longer hold a glass of water, and his eyes shine as if he were already looking at the next world. But even with all that, he has donated millions of dollars to ALS research. His life has become a full-time survival mission, yet he still uses his last strength and his fortune to give other patients a better chance at the future. He is a legend to everyone, and he will remain a legend even after he's gone. Leave your wishes for Daniel below before it is too late.
Switzerland. Is that cap? Pretty sure that would be on the news or something, man. It's my first time hearing about that, so I'm going to dig deep on that one.
Are quietly preparing for the end of the world. They've been hustling for decades. You wouldn't know it by just looking at them, but underneath around 60% of the Swiss Alps, they've built a city of doomsday bunkers that can protect hundreds of thousands of people in a catastrophic event. In fact, Switzerland is the only country in the world that can house their entire population, 8.7 million people, in a secure bunker. And they're not just old, forgotten World War II structures slowly crumbling away. They are continuously updated and restocked with supplies till this day. You see, Switzerland decided they needed to, excuse the pun, lock in after Germany promised to not invade them during World War II. They not only transformed the peaceful Swiss Alps into an absolute fortress and rigged it with enough explosives to collapse entire mountainsides, but the Swiss government also made it a law for homes, schools, hospitals, and other public buildings to install protective shelters, and that policy remains till this day, meaning the entire country is designed in a way that wherever you go, whether it's a restaurant, a park, or a friend's house, there's always a doomsday bunker nearby. According to official figures, Switzerland currently has around 300,000 bunkers across the country, which can accommodate roughly 9.3 million people. That's over 500,000 more than the country's current population. And once they're safely inside, they can even remotely detonate things like roads, bridges, tunnels, and railways to keep out invaders, or I guess, the unprepared.
Disturbing history facts that school did not teach you. During medieval times, some women would shove live fish inside their bodies, if you know what I mean, and wait until the fish died inside them before cooking and serving it to their husbands. It was believed that this would increase their husbands' love for them. Mother Teresa encouraged sick patients to suffer. but went straight to the hospital when she was ill. She is regarded by many as a saint for her dedication to helping the poor and sick in India. She believed suffering was a gift from God and encouraged her patients to accept it as a way to get closer to Jesus. However, when she herself fell ill with heart problems, she chose to get treated in modern hospitals. Charlie Chaplin met his future wife when she was 12 and he was 31. They first crossed paths on the set of the movie The Kid in 1920. 4 years later, due to Letta Gray's pregnancy, they got married when she was only 16 years old. Their turbulent union eventually resulted in one of the most expensive divorces of their time.
Okay. That was eerie. Those facts, man. Shocking, man. Especially about the last one, about that marriage. That threw me for a whirl. Where is he at? Is that like a haunted tunnel? Oh, see, I won't be there, bro.
Could The Rock actually become the next US president? Well, that's exactly what a lot of people are talking about today, because recently his odds of becoming the Democrats' next presidential nominee have surged on Polymarket above even Michelle Obama and Tim Walz. Now, realistically, his odds are still only sitting at about 2 to 3%, with Gavin Newsom and AOC being by far the top two contenders. But the crazy part is that he's up there without even saying that he's running. He has, although, dropped sneaky little hints. For example, in 2022, a poll came out that 46% of Americans would support his presidential run, and then he revealed that after that poll came out, multiple political parties approached him to see if he would run for US president in 2024. In 2016, he told GQ, "I can't deny the thought of being a governor or president is alluring." And then just a year later, he told Variety that the 2024 presidential campaign was a realistic consideration. Now, he mentioned what stopped him was his kids. He doesn't want them to be dragged into politics. But he still left the door slightly open because he told Trevor Noah in a podcast, if that's
ultimately what the people would want, then of course I would consider it.
And hypothetically, if he did run in 2028, the current odds say that he'd be up against JD Vance. So the question is Dwayne Johnson exactly what the Democrats need right now? Or would AOC and Gavin Newsom be a better option?
Imagine being resurrected from the dead only to bomb harder than you did at this kid's birthday party. The worst horror movies I've ever seen. And this one's tagline is literally Bad Clown. This movie starts with a clown getting busy in his camper while staring at a creepy egg with a face on it. Cut to Stitches, the clown arriving late to a kid's birthday party. And instead of being funny, the kids end up pranking him. They tie his shoelaces together, and one throws a soccer ball at his face. He trips, lands on a knife sticking up from a dishwasher, and somehow survives long enough to try kid who pranks him, but he then slips on the blood and dies. And that sets the tone for the rest of this film. Years later, a clown cult comes and they resurrect him using an egg ritual because apparently if a clown dies mid-party, he cannot rest in peace. Flash forward to the future and these kids from the birthday party are now teenagers who are throwing another birthday party. Stitches comes back fully unhinged, to say the least. The kills try to be outrageous, but it feels like a rejected Goosebumps idea filtered through a Hot Topic discount bin, and the tone is all over the place. It's like the movie couldn't decide if it was horror, a comedy, or a PSA about why you shouldn't bully kids with bad haircuts. And on top of that, out of nowhere, Stitches ends the cat. It was just like so unnecessary. And when I was watching it, my cat was sitting on my lap and he looked at me. He was like, Kane Hodder would never. Ross Noble deserves jail for this accent alone. Or maybe I do for thinking I would enjoy this. These are a few reasons why Stitches is one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. Let me know your least favorite and follow for more.
The world's most unsolved mystery.
Right.
This picture represents mysteries from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these mysteries have never been solved and never will. For this series, we're going to be picking some from each category until we reach tier 10, the point of no return. Okay, so tier 1. Today we're going to be talking about the Beast of Javedon. Between 1764 and 1767, a huge beast killed over 100 people in southeastern France. It was described as being a large cow with razor-sharp teeth. If you think this is just just a myth or a legend, you're wrong. This actually happened. In fact, there were so many witnesses that they were able to well document this entire thing. The first attack occurred when a woman was walking with her bulls. The beast charged the bulls, and the bulls were able to fight off this beast with their horns. The woman described it as a huge chest with razor-sharp teeth, tail way longer than a wolf, and horns on its head. This beast was so dangerous that it would appear on people's doorsteps, and when they would open the door, it would tear their feet right off. Not only that, but 80% of the victims either had their throat torn out or their head cut off. And sometimes it would even carry the bodies away, leaving little trails of body parts. Now onto the theories. The first theory is it's nothing more than a wolf. One of the reasons people say that this theory isn't true is because of the way they described it. Not only are the physical characteristics different, but the attacks themselves as well. Wolves don't typically attack full-grown men because they're afraid. But this beast killed over 100 people. The second theory is maybe it was a lion. This is one of the most popular theories, but to me it doesn't sit right because how could a lion get to the southeastern of France? The third theory, which I think is the scariest, is this was something we've never seen before. Which leaves the question, was this just a wolf or a lion, or was this something much darker? Make sure to like and follow because we have a lot more to learn.
It's my head turning. Wolf or a lion? What do you guys think, Seekers? Like you said, it won't make sense for them to be in that part of the region, so could it be something undiscovered? Is that a hotel at night? Oh no, something in that bed, bro. It's haunted.
What does plutonium taste like? This man found out. Los Alamos, 1944. Donald Mastic was working in a high-security lab helping to develop the atomic bomb. Then an accident would change his life forever. Picking up a glass container, it exploded and covered him in an acidic liquid. That container held a microscopic amount of plutonium. Noticing the acidic taste that filled his mouth, Donald knew he was in deep trouble. Even 30 years later, trace amounts of plutonium was still detectable in Donald, but he lived until he was 87.
Wow, what the heck? Imagine if we could swallow plutonium. He lived to 87? I thought it would have been over. But he said it was just trace amounts. Oh, but, gotta be careful working on those labs. Is that a man taking a picture of it erupting?
He took the life of this 74-year-old man because he got dumped.
Do you say Joy Lane?
What?
Do you say Joy Lane?
Joy Lane?
Yeah. She's the reason why this is about to happen to you.
On April 16th of 2017, 74-year-old Robert Godwin Sr. had just finished an Easter lunch with his family. He was seen walking around the Glenville neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, collecting cans. Robert was then randomly approached by 37-year-old Steve Stevens. Steve worked as a case manager at a behavioral health agency, and his friend stated that he had money problems, gambling issues, and a recent breakup with his girlfriend, Joy Lane. Earlier that day, Steve was recording himself talking about how his life was falling apart and he really wanted to unalive someone because of his breakup. That was when Steven spotted Robert. He went up to Robert, recording him, asking him to say the name Joy Lane. Robert looked very confused because he didn't know anyone by that name. But Steve told him that she was the reason that this was going to happen to him. Moments later, Steve shot Robert right in the head and he collapsed. Steve filmed the whole thing on his phone and then uploaded it onto Facebook so that everyone could see. Steve quickly fled the scene and left Robert there to die. The video ended up being taken down about 2 hours later and Steve was on the run. 2 days later, Steve was spotted in a McDonald's drive-thru in Erie, Pennsylvania. The workers had recognized him and purposely stalled his order so that they had time to call police. Police arrived quickly, but before he could be arrested, September of 2017, part of 146 East Street was renamed Robert Godwin Sr. Way. Robert's children, especially his daughter, forgive Steve because they were raised to live by faith and forgiveness. Robert Godwin Sr. is remembered as a kind man, a father of 8, a grandfather of 14, and even a great-grandfather, and a man of faith.
Do you have scopophobia? Let's find out. I'm going to show you 5 photos. Let's see if you can make it to the end. First one.
I'm cool.
How about this?
Still good.
Feeling uneasy yet? Almost there. Last one.
I'm cool, bro. They was just looking at me.
These are some of the rarest animals in the world. Once thought to be a separate subspecies, the king cheetah is an African cheetah with a rare mutation of the fur. First discovered in 1926, this badass freak of nature has only been seen in the wild 6 times. A Maine fisherman found this extremely rare translucent lobster. Scientists say about 1 in every 100 million lobsters is colored this way. The world's rarest marine mammal is a small porpoise known as the vaquita, and it's on the brink of extinction. Discovered in 1958, there may only be about 10 of them left in existence. Here are some pics taken off the coast of Australia of the only albino humpback whale in the world. The famous whale is named Migaloo, and being this close to him can fetch you a $16,000 fine. It's extremely rare for axolotls to go through a phase called morphing, where they lose their gills and webbed feet and essentially evolve into a land creature. But it still happens occasionally as a result of dormant genes from their ancestors, like what happened to this one named Gollum.
Millie Bobby Brown just became a mom. So Millie and her husband, Jake Bon Jovi, just announced that they adopted a baby girl. Since the announcement, everyone is kind of freaking out since most people kind of grew up with Millie. We all saw her as a kid on Stranger Things, but now she is a married mother of 1 before the show is even over. But congrats to Millie and Jake for becoming new parents.
Congrats.
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 46. Although pigs seem cute and innocent, they will eat just about anything, and that includes human remains and the bones that come along with it. And yes, it has happened before. Your chances of dying on your birthday are actually 6.7% higher than any other day. Happy birthday to you, am I right? Back during the 18th century, doctors would practice something called bloodletting, where they would actually drain their patients' blood because they believed they accumulated too much and that's what was causing their mental illnesses. And lastly, there's something known as postpartum depression that will cause mood swings, feelings of anger, and sometimes even a worry that you're going to kill your own baby.
Those are some facts. He was right. So those are some facts we didn't want to know. Well, people be out in the sheet in the middle of the night, man. I don't get how they could ever do that. You gotta be careful, man. You never know what's lurking out in the dark.
This author got a 1-star review on his book and went searching for that person. 18-year-old Paige Rowland was a nursing student from Scotland, and she often loved reading. That same year, she was excited to stumble upon a brand new book called The World Rose. The plot followed the main character, a young girl named Ella, looking for true love and facing the challenges along the way. The book was a self-published novel by 28-year-old Richard Britton. Aside from being an author, from 2006 to 2007, he appeared on many daytime TV game shows. Although he seemed like a bright young man, he was actually a dark and sinister individual. In 2012, Richard had attended college in London, and this is when his attention was caught by a girl named Ella. Once he became friends with this girl, he asked if she would like to be a part of his university quiz team, and she accepted. He gave Ella an application form to fill out, all with personal details, including her address. Now that Richard had all of her personal information, he would send her Valentine's Day cards, added her on Facebook, and it would even show up at her workplace. Ella made it clear to Richard that she was not interested in him, but he did not want to hear any of it. Richard ended up leaving multiple voicemails on Ella's phone expressing his love for her. It got so bad for Ella that she had to relocate 400 miles away just so she wouldn't have to encounter Richard, and she had to involve the police 2 times. At this point, finally, Richard just accepted his defeat. On the other hand, Paige just finished reading Richard's book and was not impressed at all and decided she was going to write a review on Goodreads. In the review, she stated that she was unimpressed with the writing and grammatical errors and gave him a 1-star review. And once Richard saw this 1-star review, he was enraged and was not going to let anyone criticize his book. Richard took Paige's name from the Goodreads account and found her on Facebook, and that is where he saw that she was from Scotland and also found where she worked. Richard made a 400-mile trip to Scotland to hopefully find Paige. On October 3rd of 2014, Richard arrived at the supermarket where Paige worked, and he looked through every aisle to search for her. As Richard was looking through every aisle looking for Paige, he found her restocking the shelves. He grabbed a bottle of wine and snuck up behind Paige. Richard was consumed with anger and a need for revenge, so he hit Paige's head with that bottle with as much strength as he could. Once he did that, he fled the scene and Paige was seen lying in a pool of her own blood. CCTV footage was recovered from the store and it didn't take police long enough to find Richard. Richard was arrested and charged with the assault of Paige and the stalking of Ella. In November of 2015, he pled guilty to both charges and was sentenced to 30 months in prison. Luckily, Paige survived the attack, and just like Ella, she moved away as well. Once Richard was released from prison, he sent Paige a private Facebook message that he wanted to go visit her again. Although Richard was told not to contact his victims again, Paige reported this to police, but they decided not to press any kind of charges due to his mental health.
Here's everything you missed in pop culture this past week. Lil Nas X is making headlines after TMZ obtained footage of him roaming around the streets of LA at 4 o'clock in the morning wearing nothing but underwear and cowboy boots. That's it. Now, I won't be showing any of the photos or videos of him from this night because I think that's just weird, but it was later reported that police arrived on the scene to make contact with Lil Nas X, and when they approached him, he charged at them. He was reportedly then restrained, put in handcuffs, and paramedics were alerted, where he was then transported to a local hospital to be treated for a possible overdose. After a short evaluation, he was then arrested on suspicion of battery on a police officer and booked into jail. Lil Nas X will remain in jail until at least Monday, when a judge is expected to review his case and decide on bail. We have so much Doja Cat news this week, as Doja Cat announced her Tour Ma Vie World Tour that will kick off on November 18th in Auckland. Now, currently there are only a few international dates, but more dates are going to be announced soon. On top of that, Doja has released her long-awaited single Jealous Type alongside its music video, and it is everything I wanted and more. And in a recent interview with Zane Lowe, Doja Cat actually teased that she is rehearsing for some very fun stuff before being told off camera to not mention anything. Now, a lot of fans are speculating that Doja Cat might be doing Super Bowl 2026, which, hey, I would love a Doja Cat halftime show performance, but I feel like that's a long time away to be this delusional. But the next thing closest is the MTV Video Music Awards, and I feel like she might be rehearsing for a surprise performance. Aubrey Plaza appeared on Amy Poehler's Good Hang podcast in her first interview since the loss of her husband. Aubrey Plaza spoke candidly about grief, revealing that it is a daily struggle, but she's grateful to be moving through the world. Sydney Sweeney has obviously been receiving a ton of backlash these past few months, but she has finally addressed the haters for her Dr. Squatch bathwater soap. Sydney stated, "It was mainly the girls making comments about it, which I thought was really interesting. They all loved the idea of Jacob Elordi's bathwater. I guess that's one way to go about it, but Sydney, I want to know what you think of the American Eagle backlash." Before I continue, if you like these pop culture recaps, make sure to follow me for more. Speaking of American Eagle, Gap showed them how to make a denim ad the right way when they tapped Cat's Eye to be the face of their Better in Denim campaign. In the ad campaign, Cat's Eye was styled in all denim while dancing to Khalees's Milkshake, and it was everything. Addison Rae has received 0 nominations at this year's MTV Video Music Awards, and here's what she had to say. Addison stated, "It's definitely funny when you feel like you put a lot of work into something and it doesn't get recognized by some place that you feel like you were contributing to. Say what you want about her music, I feel like it's made a ton of noise and it's actually pretty good, and she was making a ton of noise at the VMAs last year, so yes, this is very confusing." Speaking of the VMAs have revealed that Mariah Carey will be this year's Video Vanguard recipient, and she will do a career-spanning medley of some of her best hits. I am so excited for this performance, and honestly, I could not think of anybody else who would get the Vanguard this year, so it's only fitting that it's Mariah Carey. Christian Girl Autumn influencer Caitlin Covington went viral after she posted a video of herself crying, stating that she cannot make any fall content this year, citing that she felt a ton of pressure to follow up her last year videos and also that she needed a break. And shockingly, this sent everybody into a tizzy, saying fall is cancelled. However, it was all a lie when Caitlin followed it up with a video stating, "Just kidding, fall is here." Whew, thank God. Congratulations are in order for Millie Bobby Brown and Jake Bon Jovi, as they've announced that they've welcomed a baby girl through adoption. Really devastating news, as Frank Caprio, the man who became known as America's nicest judge for his empathy, his humor, and understanding when handling cases, has sadly passed away at the age of 88. This one hurt. Eric Menendez has been denied parole for the 1989 aliving of his parents. His brother, Lyle Menendez, at the time of this video being posted, is still currently waiting in front of a California parole panel to hear his fate. And lastly, this is kind of insane, a California resident has tested positive for the plague. Health officials believe that they contracted the plague.
Big story of Maddie Clifton. On November 3rd, 1998, beautiful 8-year-old Maddie Clifton went missing in her neighborhood in Jacksonville, Florida. Maddie asked her mom to go outside and play with some friends, but when she failed to come home for dinner, everybody was worried. Everyone in the neighborhood got together to search for Maddie in hopes to find her alive. 7 days later, on November 10th, Maddie's neighbor, Missy Phillips, runs across the street hysterically calling for police. Missy led police to her 14-year-old son's bedroom, and what she shows police next is super chilling. She explained to police that as she was cleaning her son's bedroom, she noticed that his waterbed was leaking, so as she pulled up his sheets, she saw Maddie's lifeless body laying in between the bed frame. Maddie's body was found partially clothed, bludgeoned with a baseball bat, and she was stabbed multiple times. Police quickly arrest Joshua Earl Phillips, and the story that he tells police is super disturbing. So he told police that Maddie came over to his house to play baseball and he accidentally hit her in the eye with the ball. Then he apparently took her into the house because she wouldn't stop crying, and as he dragged her in the house, her clothes came off. And then he hit her again with the baseball bat to get her to stop crying. So when his parents got home, he ran upstairs to check up on Maddie, and he noticed that she was still alive and moaning in pain. So instead of saving her, what does he do? He stabs her to death and shoves her in the bed frame. He slept in the same bed with her deceased body for 7 days, and he eventually got life in prison. This is what he looks like now.
Chilling case, man. 7 days just sleeping on top of that?
432. In March of 1998, 23-year-old Virginia woman Amy Lynn Bradley was on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship to Curacao when she suddenly vanished from the balcony of her cabin around 6 a.m. The Coast Guard conducted a 4-day search in surrounding waters but found no trace of her, so authorities concluded that she simply fell overboard and drowned. But in the years since, there have been several reported sightings of Amy that suggest she may have been kidnapped and forced into human trafficking. 1 year after she went missing, a U.S. Navy sailor claimed he met a woman named Amy in a Barbados brothel who matched her description and begged him for help, but he didn't report it at the time. In 2005, an anonymous email was sent to Amy's family containing 2 photographs of a sex worker who closely resembled Amy, but nothing ever came of it. Despite various other sightings of the woman with men holding on to her, Amy Lynn Bradley was declared legally dead in March of 2010, 12 years after her disappearance.
The Whales cruise ships.
37-year-old Stephanie McCrae was from Daleville, Alabama, and had 2 sons. She was also married to 37-year-old Ricky McCrae, and they had been married for some time. Their marriage had a lot of happiness and love, but it also had periods of strain and conflict. On July 13th of 2024, the couple was at McDonald's drive-thru. Stephanie was driving and Ricky was in the passenger side. An argument started between the two, and workers at the McDonald's could hear the argument through the intercom system. As Stephanie reached the pickup window after placing her order, she told the employee to please call the police because her husband had a gun. Ricky, who was in a fit of rage, shot Stephanie 3 times in that drive-thru line, killing her instantly. The gunfire was heard by the employees, and they closed the drive-thru window immediately and fled for their safety. Once Ricky had shot Stephanie, he fled on foot. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses had captured a man fitting the description of Ricky running away from a McDonald's wearing red shorts and a white tank top. Ricky was arrested and charged with the murder of his wife. Police say that the two were in an off-again, on-again relationship, and they had just discussed the relationship before the incident. Ricky claims he is not guilty and he was home the whole time and it wasn't him. As of right now, Ricky remains in custody awaiting further court proceedings.
Unbelievable stories that sound fake but are 100% real. This is Henry Tandy, and he was the most decorated British soldier during World War I, meaning he had the most medals and honors, but that's not why he's remembered today. On a fall day in 1918, Henry was propped up on a war trench just like this one, scanning the battlefield before the day came to an end. When he suddenly noticed a shadowy figure walking towards him through the mist, he immediately grabbed his rifle because he wasn't sure if this guy was on his side or the enemy's. But as the figure got closer, Henry realized that this guy was severely wounded and he had a German uniform on, meaning he was indeed the enemy. The wounded soldier had no weapon and just kept slowly walking towards Henry, not realizing the danger he had just gotten himself into. But as the German realized what was about to happen, he didn't try to run away, he just stood there and accepted his fate. Henry couldn't find the strength to shoot this guy, so he let him go. That soldier was Adolf Hitler.
And look what butterfly effect that led to, man. It's crazy, man, how like one small moment can change the course of history. You never know, man. It's wild to think about. That's a bit.
Fun fact, this animal started my career. No, like actually, the first animal video I ever made was because I seen this crash out Clydesdale dwarf car and I couldn't stay silent. So in honor of that, here's the top 5 BTYT animals. Bigger than you think. Moose are built like a bad joke. They're not slightly bigger deer, they're slightly smaller elephants. Fun fact, only animal where swerving and praying to RNGesus is safer than hitting Bullwinkle with your car, because if you hit their legs, that's about 1,400 pounds of moose coming through your windshield. That's if you see them, because moose are so tall, your headlights won't even reach high enough to give their eyes away. Stay woke to the moosaya. I feel like people think wolves are just slightly bigger, unhinged huskies, and I think so did this husky, till he found out, as big as you think wolves are, I promise you they're bigger, and we turned that into a beagle. Saltwater crocodiles are a massive middle finger to everyone's way of life, up to and over 20 feet and 2,000 plus pounds worth of predator. They also have the strongest recorded bite force of any animal at 3,700 psi. A grizzly's like 1,200 and they can obliterate a bowling ball. Swans are literally everything geese grow up thinking they are. It's called a mute swan because there are no words for how egregiously foul this Q-tip dinosaur is. Look up swan song. It's named after the fact that it's the last thing you'll hear while in the present tense. My sources I made the novel like they do have a human body count. And lastly, wombats put the W in wombo and WTF. It's built like a boulder. That's not even a joke. They life retire predators by throwing it back. And I won't be elaborating on that, the more you know.
Morbid facts.
What did he be
Part
throwing back?
474. Known as the girl who can't feel pain, Ashlyn Blocker was born with a congenital insensitivity to pain, a rare condition characterized by her body's inability to experience physical pain. While it may sound like a superpower, this condition has left Ashlyn without the natural warning signals that typically alert people to danger. From a young age, she accidentally injured herself countless times, forcing her parents to be constantly vigilant to prevent serious harm. In one case, she ran on a badly fractured ankle for several days before her parents finally realized that something was wrong. Here's a 1955 photo of actor James Dean pretending to sleep inside of an open casket at a furniture store in Indiana. After a fatal car crash just 7 months later, Dean would end up laying in a casket permanently. Martin Luther King Jr.'s mother, Alberta, was also murdered 6 years after her son was assassinated. She was shot and killed by a 23-year-old black man who thought that black civil rights activists and ministers were evil. The man yelled, "You are serving a false god," and shot Alberta King with 2 handguns while she was playing an organ during a church service in Atlanta.
How you gonna do that to Dr. King's mom? She was a living legend, but there has to be something more behind that, man. I mean, anything. You think they you know, we know, man, the story behind King. I don't want to get into that. Really went down. Did I take his mom too?
Talking about the possible serial killer in Grand Junction, Colorado, let me tell you about one of their most infamous murder cases. The Blacks were a picture-perfect family of born-again Christians until November 13th, 2001, when Michael came home to a pool of blood. His wife, Jennifer, and 6-year-old daughter, Abby, missing. The back door was left open, Jennifer's purse was spilled out on the floor, and her jewelry was missing. But when authorities looked at the crime scene, something was off. If a stranger had broken into their home, why would they leave items of value behind, like guns and cash? And why would they move the bodies in Jennifer's van and return it to the family's garage? In May the following year, investigators started digging through the Mesa County landfill, and after removing 3,000 tons of trash, they find the mummified remains of Jennifer Black, wrapped in a tent and surrounded by trash from her husband's workplace. Michael was convicted for only his wife's murder in 2004, but 13 years later, he got a second shot at freedom. It turns out a juror lied on her questionnaire about being a victim of DV. In 2018, he got the same result, life in prison without the possibility of parole. And despite being convicted twice, he refuses to reveal the location of his 6-year-old daughter, Abby. It's believed her remains are still deep in the Mesa County landfill.
How long you would survive in these places? Inside a refrigerator, 10 days. In the middle of the ocean, 3 days. Inside a freezer, 4 hours. In a microwave, 15 seconds. Black hole, instant death. I want to talk about what makes this picture
that counts.
Terrifying. But the woman that you're looking at is Samantha Trey, and she went missing in June of 2016.
For some context, this was the apartment building that she was reported missing from. When her friends could not get in touch with her, a police search commenced. One of the first things that they noticed when they got into the apartment was that her laptop had been almost entirely destroyed. You know, like, it was very clear that somebody had deliberately tried to ruin this computer and whatever was on it. Investigators were still able to get into that computer, which is where they found this final webcam photo that was taken. Something they found very disturbing, and clearly she looks like she's in distress, but what's in the background is what really unnerved them. When they increased the brightness, an unknown man could be seen behind her in the room, which they believe she was very clearly aware of. Samantha was never found, and this man was never identified. If you do want to catch more creepy stories, make sure to go check them out on my show, The Sinister. What's Buddha?
Like, man, he be doing those zoom ins of those pictures in the background, man. Always freaking blow my mind, because I don't, like, legit, I don't see anything until you really have to zoom in, man. It's all in the details, bro. The pictures, they tell a story.
Considered a Christian saint. The Eastern Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church both honor two saints named Balaam and Josaphat. On closer inspection, the story of this Indian prince, Josaphat, appears strikingly similar to the life of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. But how did this come to be? Well, the story originates from an early Christian adaptation of Siddhartha Gautama's life. As Buddhism traveled through Central Asia, its teachings spread along the trade routes to the Middle East. Here it was adapted into other belief systems like Manichaeism. In the 8th century, Islamic scholars translated a Buddha biography into Arabic as Kitab Bilawar wa Buddhasaf, which means the Book of Bilawar and Buddhasaf. By the 11th century, it was translated into Greek, where it became known as Balaam and Josaphat. This adaptation recast the Buddha story into a Christian moral tale, with Josaphat as a prince who renounces wealth after guidance from Balaam, a Christian hermit. This version aligned with the Christian teachings on renunciation and devotion.
Okay, so it sounds like two different stories that diverged to different parts of the world.
Rating whether or not I get to ride these traps from Saw X. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so comment down below what movie I should do next. Starting with the pipe bomb trap. Now I'm gonna be honest, if I woke up with scalpels as my hands and 2 live pipe bombs attached to my wrist, bro, I'm getting in the fetal position. Because what my man had to do here was absolutely insane. There's no humanly possible way I'm doing it. You then go over to the eye sub trap. Now I'm gonna be honest, if I could break all of my fingers at once, just click it all the way to 5 and call it a day, then I'm surviving. The fact that you have to do it individually, finger by finger, I'm done. You guys know the bone marrow trap, and I'm gonna be honest, when I saw this in the movie, it might have been one of the most gross things I've ever seen. Not even the first part, but the second part, what she has to collect. I for some reason still have this massive theory that if I don't have to play the tape, then I should survive, because then the timer doesn't start. Am I right? You then have the brain surgery trap, bro. Close that mask and cook me. There's no humanly possible way I'm doing that trap. Like I said, I think if I don't play the tape, then I should be fine. I mean, I'm not gonna survive either way. It would probably be less painful. You then have one of the easiest traps in this movie, man, the radiation trap. You have to break your wrist and your ankle. I know that sounds painful, but the alternative is absolutely awful. I'm surviving that 100%. You then have the waterboarding trap, which as long as your teammate is not trying to unalive you, you should be good. You then have the gas trap. There is one porthole, and if you were stuck in there with me, bro, you are not surviving. Like in Fall from Water. And barely lost. That just goes to show that Slenderman is not that strong. Yes, it's a creepypasta. Yes, it is made into a movie. It is the movie good? No. But in all honesty, I don't think Slenderman matches up with any of the horror movie characters. So Slenderman versus Jason, he's getting packed up. Slenderman versus Freddy, also getting packed up very easily. I know I'm yapping here, but I don't even think Slenderman's beating Leatherface. Leatherface is just a normal person. Like in Fall from Water. 10 quick facts that can save your life. Don't repair your own microwave. They can hold electrical currents even when unplugged. If you're ever impaled by something, leave the object in place and go to the hospital rather than trying to pull it out yourself. If you're choking, make sure people know. Don't panic and just walk away. If you have a fire in a pan on the stove, cover it with a lid or towel. Don't eat snow for hydration. The energy that's required from your body to melt the snow will actually dehydrate you even more. If you think you're having a heart attack, you should chew aspirin instead of swallowing it. If you're ever in a falling elevator, laying down flat and covering your face is your best bet for survival. A wagging tail does not always mean that a dog is happy. Dogs also wag their tail when they're fearful or as a warning. Never approach a horse from behind. If a tornado doesn't look like it's moving left or right, it's most likely moving towards you.
6 days ago, I posted a video listing 8 horrifying facts about jinns. Number 2 from that list caught many viewers' attention. Let's have a look at that clip. Number 2, mythical creatures that we see in movies, such as dragons, mermaids, goblins, and trolls, are inspired by supernatural beings. The jinns of the sky, the jinns of the sea, the jinns of the mountains, and the jinns of the caves. For hundreds of years, mythical creatures were always inspired by supernatural beings. Let's use mermaids as an example. In urban legends, mermaids are known to be sea creatures that lure sailors to their death by their enchanting voice. They are not as innocent and friendly as how movies make them seem. This is the only real video available online that could maybe prove a being of what seems to be a mermaid.
Check it out.
We got another one over here. What are those?
We watching.
On each side of the boat?
Something's definitely moving, bro. See that motion?
Oh, something's swimming fast underneath that water. Something's swimming real fast underneath that water. I hear him. Where's he at? What the fuck is that noise, bro? What is that noise?
Song calling to him.
Let's not forget the importance of oceans in the world of jinns. The most protected area in their whole world is on water. The throne of Iblis is on water. But the main question is, are these shape-shifting jinns, half humanoids, half fish, or do mermaids actually exist? Only God knows the answer.
What do you guys think?
37-year-old Greg Biggs was someone who wanted to rebuild his life. He was living in a homeless shelter but worked as a self-employed bricklayer hoping for a better life. Greg was a devoted father to his 18-year-old son Brandon, and even though they couldn't live together, they still had a very strong bond. Greg was such a kind-hearted person. He had met this woman, fell in love with her, and she had nothing, but he gave her all of his money and she left him. Because of this, he lost his house, he lost his truck, and this is what led him to become homeless. And that just shows you what kind of guy Greg was. On October 25th of 2001, 25-year-old Shantae Mallard, who was a nursing assistant, showed up at her friend's apartment in Fort Worth, Texas, and this friend went by the name T. Fry. Shantae appeared to be a responsible and caring individual, but whenever her and T. Fry would get together, they would show their partying lifestyle and just be wild and rebellious. That evening, the two smoked and drank before heading to a local nightclub, and the plan was for Shantae to meet this guy named Cleet Jackson, who she was really liking, and just have a fun night out. Once they were at the club, the smoking and drinking continued, and it seems like they were having a great night. However, that was until Cleet abandoned Shantae for another woman, which made her very upset. When 2 a.m. rolled around, the club was preparing to shut down, and Shantae and T. Fry decided to leave. Shantae, who was heavily intoxicated, was going to drive herself home, but T. Fry, who was not as intoxicated, told her that she would follow her home to make sure that she got home safe. Shantae told her no, it was okay, that she would be fine. Around 3:30 a.m. when Shantae was driving home, she hit Greg Biggs, who was walking on the sidewalk. It was so bad that Greg's body went through the windshield and he was partially lodged in the car. Despite suffering severe injuries, including an almost amputated leg, he was still alive and conscious. There was blood splattered inside of the car, and even his handprints were on the passenger side door, showing that he was trying to get out. Instead of Shantae stopping the car to help Greg or call for help, she just kept driving home. She passed by a fire station, a hospital, several payphones, and she still continued to drive home with Greg in her windshield. Once Shantae arrived home, she parked the car in the garage, turned off the lights, shut the garage door, leaving Greg in complete darkness, and he was just moaning in pain. About an hour later, Shantae called her friend T. Fry, crying on the phone, asking her to come over. When she arrived at her home, she directed her to the garage, and that is when she saw Greg's bloody body still in the windshield. But of course, instead of calling for help, they turned off the lights and left him there to die. After that, they drove to T. Fry's apartment to go to sleep, and the next morning they drove back to Shantae's house, and that is when they found Greg motionless. Realizing that Greg was now gone, Shantae had called Cleet, asking for him to dispose of his body. Cleet, who was already on parole, was furious about being asked to do this, but he did it anyways. He and his cousin Tyrone went to Shantae's house. They took Greg's body out of the windshield, put it in a rug, took it to a park, and left his body on a bench. They wanted to leave Greg's body in a public place so that his family could find it and bury him. The next morning, 2 men who were at that park discovered Greg's body and contacted police. Craig's case went cold for several months until February of 2002 when a tip came forward from a woman named Miranda Daniel who was familiar with Shantae and told them what had happened that night. Police went to search Shantae's garage, and even though several months had passed by, her car's windshield was still shattered and there was still blood inside. Shantae was convicted of murder and sentenced to 50 years in prison, but will be eligible for parole in 2027. As for Cleet and Tyrone, they got a sentence of 10 and 9 years.